Is there anything under open forum? All right, on our consent agenda, any concerns?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4.
Item 4, request approval of payment request number, 23 to SCR Construction Partners LTD for the construction on DHS segment 0-7.9 miles in the amount of $97,989.92.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, request approval to process manual check to SCR Construction Partners LTD for the above-mentioned projects pending the approval of County Auditor and Department of Homeland Security and pending the electronic transfer of funds from the Department of Payment and Management.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, we do have an item under pending and/or potential litigation we'd like to present to the Board.
All right, pursuant to 551-071 and 072, it would entertain a motion to proceed to executive
So moved.
session.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We're going to be convening an executive session. It's 9:16. It's now it's 9:29. We're terminated our executive session. We're convening back an open session. As I see it, there's no action needed. All right, sir.
You need so that's not an action item then?
No.
No action necessary then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Judge, Commissioners.
We're going to wait about no more than 10 minutes before we start the meeting. We're going to give an opportunity for the other commissioners to get here. Attention, please. We're ready to convene our meeting. I apologize for the delay, but we're now ready to start. We're now convening our regular Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, January the 24th, 2012. Present are Commissioner Quintanilla, Commissioner Tito Palacios, Commissioner Joseph Palacios, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Let's bow our heads. Almighty God, we come together today for the good of the citizens of Hidalgo County. Give us your wisdom as we make decisions that will affect them today and the years to come. Help us to work well together, recognizing that each of us are here because we want what is best for Hidalgo County. We ask for your blessing and your guidance. In your name we pray, O Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. At this time, I would like to move to item 8A, involving a resolution in honor of Mr. Noe Garza. Karina?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We wanted to take this opportunity to recognize a very special individual here, very near and dear to the city of Edinburgh, who passed away recently, and I would like to recognize his family members that are joining us today. We are honoring Noe Garza, and joined with us today are his daughters, Lisa Moya and Lori Garza, and I'm going to ask if they'll come up and stand beside me while I read the resolution.
Good morning, ladies. And welcome to our County Commissioners Court meeting.
Judge, may I read the resolution, or did you want to say a few words first?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Resolution in honor of Noe Garza. Whereas Noe Garza dutifully served the County of Hidalgo throughout his 30-plus year service to the City of Edinburgh, serving as city engineer, city councilman, and mayor pro tem. Garza also served on the Edinburgh School Board and various other boards in the community. And whereas Mr. Garza is noted for the many contributions he provided to the community of Edinburgh, including assistance in the development of Edinburgh City Hall, Edinburgh Water Plant, and the Edinburgh Fire Station, among many others. And whereas throughout his career, Mr. Garza was recognized for his leadership, strong work ethic, and his love for his community and family. He never forgot his roots and made it his goal to assist as many people in his community as possible, and continue to grow and improve the city of Edinburgh. And whereas Mr. Garza passed away on January 9th, 2012, leaving behind a lasting legacy of loyalty, honesty, integrity, and commitment to his family and community, his memory will forever be imprinted in the city of Edinburgh. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and honors the memory and legacy of Noe Garza for his outstanding service, dedication, and commitment to serving the residents of this great state of Texas. Approved this 24th day of January, 2012.
So moved, Judge.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion is made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Well, on behalf of the court and the residents of this county, we want to begin by thanking you for this opportunity to publicly thank your family, your dad. He was a personal friend of mine, so I knew him very, very well during his lifetime. I know the work that he did, and I know that many times public service goes unrecognized. We're glad we didn't allow that to happen. We do want to publicly thank him through you and your family for all the good work that he did during his lifetime for our community. Not sure if other commissioners want to.
Judge, I would like to, on behalf of myself, Mr. Garza, Noe, was a personal friend. I want to say about 8 years ago, he was part of the reasons why I started working with the City of Edinburgh before I got back into the public sector. And he was a mentor, he was a friend, and he was a heck of an outstanding public servant. And I just, my heart's with you and the family, and it's unfortunate, but I'm certain that all his good works obviously are shining today, and we're honored to have him as a public servant, and we're very gracious for the service he gave. Thank you.
For one, would like to express our sincerest condolences on our good friend, Mr. Noe Garza. We served on several boards together. I had the pleasure of meeting him many, many years ago, and he was truly a strong mentor for me, and I always looked up to him. And the experiences we had on serving boards together was very instrumental, and I learned a lot from him. Very stern, very outspoken, and he truly, truly spoke up for what he believed in, so you know we were close. And I learned from him, you know, and I'm very grateful to him, and I know that all the public service that he provided throughout the years will never be forgotten, because those seeds he planted are definitely up to fruition and will definitely pay off for all of us. And as instrumental as he was in not only city government, but throughout the state, he's opened a lot of doors and created a lot of opportunity for us. So may God bless you and your family, and we'll always remember him in many good ways. Thank you.
Well, I had the opportunity to be a classmate of Mr. Garza. We were on the same football team together back when, and he had been very involved in the community. And Judge, I'm sorry, but he was born in San Juan. He went to school in PSJA, and he was well-known and well-liked by members of the community. And I've had occasion to be neighbors of the family for many, many years. And we're going to miss him, but he made a lot of contributions to the community. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, one thing I did not know, but that I learned from reading his bio, was that he was a valedictorian of PSJ High School and the year he graduated. I always knew he was an intelligent guy, and, you know, he grew up at a tough time. He went to school during a time when it was very difficult for Americans of Mexican descent to become educated professionally, and then to proceed to be the owner of his own engineering firm during those difficult times. I mean, it's a lot to be said for the character of the individual, and we want to congratulate you and your family for allowing him to involve himself not just in his private practice, but also in public service. And thank you for the opportunity to express our gratitude in behalf of the public.
Judge, I wanted to introduce Ms. Lisa Moya. She has a few words to say. She actually just informed me that she lived in London for 10 years, and she recently moved back, so she was able to spend time with her family and her father this year.
Judge, Commissioners, on behalf of my family, I'd like to thank you for recognizing my father and the footprint he left on his community. And all of you that know him know how passionate he was about giving back to his community over his lifetime. It was something in his DNA, and I hope that some of that is spread to those of the community that he served, and take that as a platform to continue his good works. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. All right.
Go down for a picture.
Okay. Yeah, let's go down. The next item that we're going to take up is also out of order. It's item number 17C. Here present is Mr. Rene Gutierrez. He's our superintendent of schools. Although he's not an elected official, he's obviously a very important member of our community representing an elected body. Item 17C, under precinct number 4. It's on page 6, Commissioner.
Judge, let me pull it out. I'm sorry about that.
It's approval of an interlocal agreement between the county and the school district. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes, sir. Judge, good morning, Commissioners. Item 17C is the approval of the interlocal agreement between Hidalgo County and Edinburgh Consolidated School District relating to the construction of a protective barrier around Carmen Avila Elementary and Harville Middle Schools.
Yeah, Judge, a little bit of, I want to commend the school district stepping forward. When they first wanted to address the issue of the unfortunate accident that happened at that school, they approached the county superintendent, and the school board had presented an idea of which we felt that the county can step in and obviously do this work at a faster rate, at a more cost-efficient manner with less burden on the taxpayer. And at the end of the day, the obvious purpose of it is obviously provide a sense of security for those that are accessing the school. We feel that this interlocal is fair all the way around, and at the end of the day, we'll be doing a great service to the community and those that obviously attend Harwell Elementary. So I'm requesting obviously the approval.
Mr. Gutierrez, I'm not sure if you want to address this at all, or...
Good morning, and
morning,
thank you
sir.
for having us on the agenda. I just want to thank Commissioner Palacios and the county for assisting us to remedy the situation at Harville Middle School and Carmen Avila, and I appreciate the cooperation from the county and the school district, and also the city of Edinburgh is going to be helping us build this berm. So on behalf of the board and the staff and the students from ECISD, I want to thank you and for helping us and working together with us to resolve the situation at Harville Middle School.
Well, it's unfortunate that we can't rely on people exercising good common sense when they're out there doing whatever activities they may be involved in, but I think this is a perfect example of what can happen, how to protect the residents of the county by the cooperation between the public bodies, the school, the city, and the county.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gutierrez. All right. Going back to item 5, under a regular agenda item, open forum. We have Fern McClarity.
Good morning. My question and problem is 8B under the county judge. Why are you considering funding request from RGV, the neutering clinic, of $60,000? How many animals will this help? How is this $60,000 going to be used? Salaries, office supplies, space, what? They've got a $90,000 grant. Why can't they get some other grants instead of coming straight to the taxpayers here that are having a hard time as it is? And on their website, you can see a new van that they've just received. It will be announced that it will be used to commute the van to help with transporting services to their clinic. And if you look on their website, it also shows all the different things that you'll get for the cheap price, but in the middle of it says additional services only offered at time of your pet's clinic for surgery. While they have an appointment there, you can get rabies and chips. Other than that, you can forget it. They have to have the surgery first. And like I say, how much is this going to cost the county? How much do we give to the Humane Society over there on Trenton Road? That is where most of the animals are gone, and when you go there to adopt one, they have to be spayed or neutered. Why are we paying another company? Why are we, you're going to take some money from them and give it to this company? And I would like to know who owns the business and who's on the board. The last time I believe that they were here, we had a doctor on the television or somewhere that was crying about how sad he was about the animals and stuff, and his office charges anywhere from $249 to $292. I do understand. Why don't some of the businesses and vets, if they're so concerned, help the public and knock some of these prices down? And like I said, how much is this going to cost the taxpayers in the future? $60,000 now. How much next month? How much next year? It'll never stop. Weslaco, at the last meeting that we went to, they voted not to send them even to the one on Trenton Road. They are going to do it themselves because it costs too much. Like I say, I know we're fixing to see some pictures of some little animals that are hurting and they're all out there starving and stuff. And believe me, I have gotten my own share out of our canal that's out there. But why don't we use some money to help stop some of the abortions? Think about when you see the little puppy's eyes up here and the different dogs. Why don't you think about the little babies that we kill each year? Let's see if we can use some money on that. Second thing, I was at the County Commissioners Courthouse Committee meeting, and I learned that the annex building is going to be torn down. When did this come on a vote? I had not, unless I missed a meeting, I don't think that you had voted to do that. And if we are, why in the world are we spending thousands and thousands of dollars to remodel it for the DA's office? How much has the county already paid out of pocket for this, and still going? The 13th Appellate Court is over there, the DA's office, the IT department, County Court at Law Number 2. What a waste if we're putting that money in that building and you're even thinking about tearing it down. That is the most stupidest thing I have ever heard. So I'm hoping that that person was wrong. And at that meeting, everyone was told that we had to be done by 1 o'clock, and they did not want our opinions or our thoughts, to keep our mouths shut more or less, and they were going to do their thing and talk. So I would like you to check. Remember, the buck stops here. You're the one that makes the final vote, and the people out there that I talk to do not want a new courthouse. They said use what we have, add what we need for the extra courts, and get the judges and everyone to get to work. Thank you.
We don't speak for that courthouse planning committee, but I would suggest you express yourself at this meeting. That's why you became a member. But it's unfortunate that the issue of public health involving all these animals is not really clearly understood by some people in our community. But we kill almost 40,000 dogs and cats every year. That is, well, that issue will be taken up. What agenda item is it?
8B, Judge.
Okay, well, we'll get to it. Let's see, next presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Good morning. Mine's about 8B too, but it's a totally, unless you all don't know, I have 10 children and I'm very pro-life. I absolutely hate abortions. I think it's the ruination of our country. And I say, where in the world are our priorities? As a nation, as a county, what's our priorities? If somebody came and asked you for $60,000 for a pro-life project, would you give it to them? If we had a video of what happens when people get abortions, would you show it? I mean, I'm just so disappointed in the nation. It's not just here. It's everywhere. We don't have our priorities straight. Now, I love animals as much as anybody. I don't want to see them suffer. But I think there's some responsibility for owners. And I'm not real thrilled to put it on the taxpayers. I'm not. But I just want our priorities back in line as a nation. Let's care about the babies that we are aborting and killing. That's just where my priorities are. It's not going to be animals before babies, ever, I guess. Thank you all.
Next presenter is Amanda Valdez.
Good morning, Honorable Judge Garcia and County Commissioners. I'm Amanda Valdez. I'm Mrs. Ramon's assistant from the Elections Department. This morning, she's attending a discussion being moderated by Senator Chuy Hinojosa and Representatives Veronica Gonzalez and Aron Peña regarding hot topics which may include redistricting. She felt that she should attend this event. She did ask me to advise you of the following. The Federal District Court in San Antonio that is handling the consolidated redistricting cases has scheduled a status conference for Friday, January 27, 2012, at 1 o'clock. At that time, the court will explore the challenges of maintaining the current primary date of April 3rd and runoff date of June 5th in light of the U.S. Supreme Court's decision last week to strike down the district court's interim maps. Included among the issues is the topic of the possibility of split primaries. The court has indicated its willingness to hear concerns from county organizations and elections administrators on issues to be discussed at the hearing. Mrs. Ramon, honoring Judge Garcia's request for her to attend, will be present at this hearing so that Hidalgo County's concerns may be presented. She asks that you please contact her with any issues you may want her to present or with any suggestions you may want to give her. She will notify you with any information that comes to light. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Frank Traver.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
I appreciate again the opportunity to speak to you. I'd also like to comment on this master plan for the courthouse, which has been publicized, as well as the meeting last Wednesday in the Pan Am University. While I was there as a substitute for one of the committee members who was not able to attend, I felt more like a member of the public. I would like to state my whole view of this entire master plan seems to be a not very well disguised program to beautify Edinburgh. The use of the news media to release information, making it all appear like decisions have been made when in reality none have been made behind the scenes. Yet it's released and the public was invited to this session to attend, although they were not very well represented. But it's always presented in a fashion like this is a well-established program, this is what we've done, and this is what we're going to do. And as I sat there and heard the opening remarks, which Fern just relied to, that we don't want to hear your opinions, it seemed to me like a slap in the face. So it leads me to ask a question, which I really think these open forums should do, is if that's the case, why are we here? I guess the only answer to that is that old joke, because we ain't all there. Now, as the meeting went on, it was also very alarming to hear this question that someone raised that mentioned the annex building, and it was quickly set aside in just a few seconds. Oh, didn't you all know this? That building's going to be demolished, just like that. Now, I'd like to ask my last question, not only what's happening, but who, how, where, how are these things being done behind the scenes that brings out this publicity which has no real firm basis in what the public is being told? It looks to me like they're trying to build a public opinion by use of the news media in advance and take away from you decisions you people should be making. And I think you should hang on to that authority and not permit this kind of thing to go on. Thank you very much.
All right, next item, number 6, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge. Item 6A, 1 and 2, there is no action unless we have to take action or the court takes action further down the agenda. Item 6B, I am asking acceptance of a $25.99 check to settle an auto accident. The payment is from Eduardo Martinez.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 6C, and I labeled it under right-of-way. We still have, given the action that was taken by Commissioners Court, we still have right-of-way issues that are pending, and I had asked Mr. Peña to make sure that he facilitated whatever projects were initiated prior to the action court took with respect to the agents going back to the precincts. Now, Mr. Peña has informed me that that this transportation forum, he has attended the last couple of years that it's been held, and they do have workshops and speakers. This is the forum that he comes back and disseminates any changes or any action that's been taken that would affect not just our county, just other counties in general with respect to our right-of-way projects. I do believe Mr. Peña does constantly communicate with the precincts.
All right.
Has any consideration been given by them to either inform or invite the right-of-way agents if they can.
Mr. Peña does communicate with the agents by sending them these updates, informing them of these particular issues. And so there is communication with the precinct agents.
Well, my question is, would it be of any value to request our staff to attend those meetings?
Commissioner, that's a very good point. I did not receive any request to attend this same forum because at that point, if we had gotten more than, with respect to the agents and Mr. Peña, then I would have requested that one or two maybe, and then come back and disseminate that information, as opposed to we have 4 or 5 representatives of the county.
That sounds more practical, and
Well,
especially as we don't know what the agenda items are.
Yeah, but we're going to send somebody. We do not have a right-of-way department, do we?
Well, but we can always convene all the right-of-way agents that are scattered throughout the various precincts and let Mr. Peña explain it to them.
Judge, but I'm saying it would be-
Judge, I made a motion to approve the request.
Judge.
I've got the floor.
Okay.
If
Judge.
we can,
I would like to make a comment that,
I'm not done yet.
Let's let Commissioner Palacios finish, and then we'll...
I still feel that we need, if you deal with right-of-way issues or information, I think we need to, at least 1 or 2 members, we have 8 right-of-way agents. So, in the future, I would recommend that we.
I will, Commissioner. I was just trying to approach this from a more cost-effective standpoint, but I will confer.
Mr. Ofracio, you want to say something before we vote on it?
yes, just a quick comment, Judge. I think we need to make sure that travel arrangements are not made until Commissioner's Court has had a chance to entertain the action and approve it. I think that's the case on this, both of these requests for reimbursement or approval to travel. I think some travel arrangements have already been made, reservations have already been made, and I think that's, in my opinion, premature.
Right, and I agree, Mr. Ofracio, but that travel request was not going to be approved until I had court action. I think that was just more of a planning, and if the court deemed that it was not appropriate, that action would have been, it would have ceased. It would not have been processed. But I do agree with you.
All right, we have a motion. We need a second.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I also have the same request for the Veterans Office. This one is to attend the annual Veterans Summit in Austin.
Vote to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, item D is from our workshop from last week, so I'm asking consideration and approval to designate a classification and compensation plan review committee. We did discuss at the workshop that there would be, I do know that the county clerk's office, district clerk's office would be a part of this committee, but I do believe that the court as a whole also wanted to look at putting representatives on this compensation review committee. And so that's the action item at hand.
You're including department heads as well, no?
Yes, we will have a good cross-segment of the county on this plan review. But I do want, again, this is for formal action so that we can designate any other representatives as the court deems.
What department heads are you going to?
I'm looking at, obviously, we're looking at safety. I want Fire Marshal's office because of their involvement and the discussions that we had with the Fire Marshal's office. I want a representative from the Constable's office. I do believe that the constables have 1 or 2 that speak. They all communicate. So I would like one from the constable's office. And from the constables, we're talking about because of their civilian employees, not so much.
Are the constables part of the
The
step-in grade
civilian
that the sheriff's office has?
The civilian personnel, yeah, the civilian, not the officers themselves.
Okay.
The civilians. Again, we discussed district clerk, county clerk. Obviously, we're going to have Department of Budget and Management on there.
Auditor.
And I'm looking at the larger departments, planning, purchasing a representative. They have a number of individuals. So I'm trying to get a good cross-segment, but I'd
But
also
make
like
sure you include the people that cared enough to be here.
Yes.
And that's our county clerk, district clerk, and our tax assessor collector.
Yes, those are the larger departments. And then again, any representation that the court deems that you all would like to appoint.
you want to make it large enough that you're going to hear all of the different concerns, but
Right.
not too large that
That it
it's
would,
going to be unmanageable.
exactly, exactly. So it is a balancing act. I agree.
All right.
Do you need names now?
No, Commissioners, I just wanted the approval to designate the Compensation Plan Review Committee, and then I would be contacting your offices for your representatives, but I do want on the
Move
record.
to approve the request.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And Judge, Commissioners, before we go any further, I had made a notation, I just was reminded, I do not believe we have taken action on our consent agenda.
Okay, on the issue of the before us, though, I wanted to make sure I made sure where my appointee would be Yolanda.
Right, yes, sir.
Valde for mine would be Marcos Lopez.
Okay.
Or my office.
Raul, Precinct 2,
Yes, sir.
and a suggestion, include the auditor.
Surely will.
So we need to go back to the consent agenda, Judge?
We need it.
All right, any concerns with the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent
I
agenda.
don't have any, Judge. Unless
Second.
somebody else has
Did we
some.
take action?
Yeah.
On this one?
Yes. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, let's go to item 7, our Constable, Precinct 4. Morning, Mr. Guerra.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I have one item on the agenda. Request authority to surplus for trade-in value 12 unserviceable handguns for the purchase of other handguns and ammunition through our supplier, GD Distributors.
What is the cost?
Pardon?
What is the cost involved?
We purchased 17 new Glock 21 Generation 4s that cost us $469, and we traded in 12 6 hours, and we got $435 trade-in.
Well, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Move to approve.
Very minimal cost to my department to purchase.
Those in
17.
favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Guerra.
sir.
All right, our next item is item 8B, discussion, consideration, and action regarding the funding request from the RGV Low-Cost Spay Neuter Clinic.
Good morning, Judge. Jaime Longoria from the County Judge's Office. And Commissioners, good morning. This request is a very timely request. Actually, it comes kind of under the umbrella of two issues that the court has taken very keen interest in. Number one is, from a budgetary standpoint, I wanted to point out to Commissioners Court that last year alone, we spent well over $450,000 dealing with the issue of stray animals from our county coffers going over to the Humane Society, and in essence, the majority of that was for animals to be put to sleep. Well over, according to the Humane Society, they euthanize well over 44,000 animals a year at that particular shelter. So from a budgetary standpoint, Commissioners Court has asked repeatedly that we look at some of the capital outlays and try to find some long-term solutions. And in doing that, we started looking around and we contacted some of our sister counties who have actually taken a very progressive approach to some of these items. Travis County, for instance, has an agreement with an organization called Emancipet, and Emancipet in essence is a sterilization program that they take out. It's got a mobile component where they go into the outlying areas of Travis County and they work with the residents at sterilizing these particular animals. So from a budgetary standpoint, in talking to the folks from Travis County, they have felt that this program has paid huge dividends in lowering the cost and lowering the numbers of animals that come into, that are picked up by their county animal control wardens and taken into the shelters for euthanization. The second standpoint is in talking to Eddie Olivares, our public health director. The issue of stray animals is a big issue in the rural areas. They're a public health nuisance, they're a public health hazard, and because of that, we kind of started looking around for organizations that would be providing services to this effect, that we could get ahead of the problem versus always working on the back end of the problem and trying to bring these animals into the shelter. For that reason, there was a very timely request from the organization, the Rio Grande Valley Low Cost Spay and Neuter organization. It's a 501c3 organization that operates here in Hidalgo County, and they have submitted a request, and there's actually a correction. It's a $50,000 request. I've included a letter of request in one of the packets that I distributed to you. It's actually $50,000, and what they're proposing is to buy some equipment, about $5,000 worth of equipment, and I'll let Victoria Villanueva talk about that component. And also they're proposing to run what they call some MASH clinics in the rural areas of the county and providing those spay and neuter services for the animals so that we can get on the front end of this problem. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Victoria Villanueva, and she'll talk about her request.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Longoria. Good morning, Commissioners. Judge Garcia, thank you for having me here this morning.
Good morning, Ms. Villanueva.
My name is Victoria Villanueva. I'm the co-founder and president of the RGV Low Cost Spay and Neuter Clinic. I'm here to speak on behalf of the clinic and to propose a program that we believe will not only benefit the pet owners of the county, but as the taxpayers as well. For those of you who may not be familiar with our organization, we are a nonprofit clinic located in McAllen. We were established in 2007. We are an organization dedicated to reducing the numbers and the pet overpopulation by providing high volume, high quality, affordable services to the pet owners of the Rio Grande Valley. Since our opening in late November of 2009, the clinic has performed just over 11,000 surgeries, effectively preventing the births of over 100,000 unwanted dogs and cats. Before I go any further, I'd like to go ahead and show you a short video, if I could.
Baby mine, don't you cry. Baby mine, dry your eyes. Rest your head close to my heart, never to part, baby of mine. Little one, when you play, pay no heed what they say. Let your eyes sparkle and shine, never a tear, baby of mine. If they knew all about you, they'd end up loving you too. All those same people who scold you, what they give just for the right to hold you. From your head down to your toes, you're not much, goodness knows, but you're so precious to me, sweet as can be, baby of mine. Baby mine, don't you cry. heart, baby of mine. Little one, when you play, pay no heed what they say. Let your eyes sparkle and shine, never tear, baby of mine. If they knew all about you, they'd end up loving you too. All those same people scold you, what they give just for the right to hold you. Baby mine, dry your eyes. Baby mine, don't you cry. Rest your head close to my heart, never to part, baby of mine. Little one, when you play, don't you mind what they say.
The pictures there were provided by Palm Valley Animal Center. What the video doesn't show is where they all came from, whether they were abandoned on the streets, and what they experienced before they actually were picked up by animal control. How many males impregnated, how many females were impregnated by the stray males in the community? How many litters were produced because of that? It's estimated that, as it said in the video, that one female dog, her mate, and their offspring can produce over 67,000 dogs in just 6 years. One female cat, her mate, and their offspring can produce almost 400,000 cats in just 7 years. Using a formula provided by the American Veterinary Medical Association and the U.S. Census, it is estimated there are more than 311,000 cats and dogs in Hidalgo County, and over 160,000 pet-owning households. This number will continue to grow every year just as the human population continues to grow. That being said, I think we can all agree that we definitely have a problem. And I say we because whether we're pet owners, animal lovers or not, this problem affects all of us. The numbers on the streets pose public health and safety risks to everyone, with the potential to be scratched or bitten by a stray cat or dog, causing injury and possibly spreading disease throughout our community. And of course, what concerns all of us as taxpayers is the cost the county services needed to pick up and dispose of these stray animals. The county pays $68 per animal to Palm Valley Animal Center for the disposition of these cats and dogs. Most are housed and fed for 3 days and then euthanized if they are found to be sick, injured, or too aggressive for adoption. Palm Valley has a terrible role to play as the only open admissions shelter in the county. According to their records, they receive over 110 cats and dogs every day. In 2011, they received over 39,000 cats and dogs and euthanized just over 34,000. They saw an increase of 3,000 cats and dogs from 2011. They received more than 8,000 cats and dogs from Hidalgo County at a cost of more than $500,000 to the county. And this doesn't even touch on the amount that's needed to pay animal control services and their equipment. This just touches on what is spent per animal at Palm Valley Animal Center. We as an organization have taken the necessary first step towards a solution to this problem. We are providing the most humane solution to this problem by making our services accessible to the general public, regardless of income. The next step is to go out into the community and take our services directly to the people. Our proposal to the county will allow us to do just that. With your help, we are proposing to establish a MASH clinic initiative. This would be a type of mobile surgical clinic where our vet staff would pack up their equipment and supplies and travel to a designated location and set up in a facility such as a community center or fire station. We would perform the surgeries there and allow the animals to go home with their owners at the end of that same day. This initiative will allow the county to focus its efforts directly on the cause of the pet overpopulation and not just the result of it. What we are proposing to the county is a way to reduce these numbers by going out into the communities where the problem is the worst, to identify and focus our efforts on these areas and educate the community leaders so they can in turn educate those in their community. And though we know education is a very important part of this, we know that it isn't enough. We need to provide the service, and we need to provide it at an affordable cost. Of the 160,000 pet-owning households that I mentioned before, 80,000 are living below poverty level. This initiative will also address those pet owners who may be in need of additional financial assistance. In an effort to further subsidize the cost of our services, the clinic applied for and was awarded a grant through the Texas Animal Friendly Program. This funding will also be made available within the initiative for those who qualify and serve as an additional incentive to get their pets sterilized. Okay.
Judge, Commissioners, what we're asking for is for authorization, I guess, to kind of have our legal department, our legal team, maybe Mr. Crane or Josie Ramirez, to work with the judge's office together with the various parties that might need to enter into some type of interlocal, replicating what's going on in Travis County and replicating Travis County and the city of Austin, so that we could start to look at getting in front of this problem that Ms. Villanueva just described. It's a budgetary issue. It's also a public health issue. And in order to address that, we'd like authorization for the legal team to start working in that direction.
Well, I know we've talked to Mr. Crane this morning, and we talked to him earlier, actually it was last week. And he is looking into it already. When he completes his research and he comes up with some method that we can use, that we can take action on, I believe that's when you're going to need our action.
Right. Certainly this is not a fly-by-night solution. There's an organization, the LBJ School, the Lyndon Johnson School of Public Affairs of UT Austin, actually did a study on one of the sister organizations and found that this to be a very effective method of addressing those two issues, a budgetary issue for counties as well as the public health issue.
So you think you need, what, a week or?
I think we need to discuss, Judge, as you and I discussed this morning, we need to have some meetings with some other entities to discuss this matter.
You think we can bring it back in a couple of weeks?
I'm hoping a couple of weeks.
All right. Okay, well, Ms. Villanueva, thank you for the work that you're doing. I know 11,000, I mean, that's a large amount of animals that are now, that have been sterilized throughout our community. And, you know, what I think is incredible is that we actually wind up, I guess we can call it euthanizing, but we're killing, you know, a little over 40,000 every year here in the facility that we call the Palm Valley Humane Society. There's really nothing very humane about it. If the animals are there for, 3 days before they're killed, if nobody picks them up?
By state law, they're required to keep them for 3 days.
But,
Yes.
I mean, unfortunately, that's what we have to do in order to avoid a public health hazard.
Exactly. They have no choice but to do it.
And one dog that you sterilize would have produced, you said 67 1,000 dogs in 6 years.
Over time, yes. And cats can reproduce all year round because of the climate in this area. The warmer it is, the
Well, we're going to have to address this at another time, probably, hopefully within 2 weeks.
Thank you for your time.
Judge, there's also a very timely article that came out in the Monitor just yesterday, the day before yesterday. It's in the packet that I submitted to you. Cameron County, our neighboring county, is already dealing with this situation, and they're trying to find a solution to a very similar situation as well. So, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Jaime.
There's no action, Judge?
No action.
All right, the next item is item 8C.
The next item, 8C, Mr. Rick Guerrero with the Juvenile Probation Office is here to present.
Good morning, Mr. Rivera.
Good morning, County Judge and Commissioners. My name is Rick Guerrero. I'm here on behalf of Buddy Silva and the Juvenile Probation Department. On item C1, we're requesting the approval to apply for a Juvenile Accountability Block Grant from the Governor of Criminal Justice Division.
Move to approve.
Second.
Judge?
That includes 2 and 3?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Number 3 is a
Question
resolution.
on that item, we're just wondering, the funding, it requires a local match? The
Yeah.
question is, where's the match going to come from?
Does the funding require a local matching
It's a
fund?
10% grant, match, Your Honor. 10% of the grant. The grant's low over $37,789, and the maximum match would be $4,198.78.
So the obligation for the county, if we get the grant, is 4,000 something?
Yeah, a little over 4,000.
All right.
Okay.
Budget, what fund are you going to?
have the
General
funding.
fund? I'm sorry? The question is not so much when you're going to accept the grant, where's the funding going to come from? General fund or?
Let's, why don't you stand up at least, Edgar? I know, I don't want to make you walk to the podium because,
Okay. All right, thank you.
all right. Then it needs some action.
Yes, Your
Is there a
Honor.
Motion second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
There's 1, 2, and 3.
I don't want to.
1, 2, and 3.
Yes, 1, 2, and 3. Item 9, our Health Department. No action needed.
No action.
Item 10, our Fire Marshal.
There's no action at this time as well, Judge.
Okay, item 11, our IT Department.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. I am requesting, item 11A, I'm requesting authorization for the use of the county's Justice Court Technology Fund for the purchase of equipment, software, services, and other related items for the county constable's offices as an extension of the role in serving the needs of the justice of the peace courts. Now, we're using something called a tech
Judge,
fund.
this is something that we've been trying to coordinate for quite a while now, to where we would empower our constables departments and deputies that have the lack of equipment, and that it comes from laptops in their units to be able to run licenses, to radar.
Ticket writers,
And ticket
data
writers and other
connections.
equipment. And with that in mind, I'd like to move to approve.
Second. We ran this through
What are we
legal.
looking at, though, for the budget, people?
The amount, sir?
The amount?
It just depends on the amount of vehicles. It could be as high as 300 grand for all constables, or we're looking at phasing it in. So we're probably looking at about 3 or 4 units per constable's office, and we're looking at about a total of about 100 at first, and then move forward. There's plenty of money in the fund, and as we collect, the fund increases because every misdemeanor,
So
there's a
there's
$4
funding available?
Yes, sir,
Right,
absolutely.
this is not going to affect our general fund.
No, it does
Right.
not. It is a special fund that gets collected.
And the money comes from what, our fund, from general fund, or where does it come from?
No, it's a JP Tech fund set by the state. So every time there is a misdemeanor at a JP court, there's a $4 fee assessed. That fee goes into
Right.
that fund.
It's a
There is
special
money in that
fund
fund.
set aside, Judge, and it does not affect
So
our
it's a
general.
fund that's is derived from the filing fees or the fines that
It is
the
a fine
prisoners
fee.
pay?
It is a fine on a misdemeanor case at a JP court, sir. It's a $4 fee.
How much is in there now?
Should be about $500,000 at this point.
How much?
$500,000.
$500,000. And how much is, and you have no idea what the cost of this?
No, we're
equipment-
looking at the very high end, 300 grand for every constable. And that would mean talking about laptops in every unit, ticket writers, data connections,
All right,
and
we
whatever
have a
else I'm
motion.
forgetting.
Thank you.
Judge.
300.
have a question.
Yeah, but we have 500 in the fund.
There's $500,000 in this fund, gentlemen, and probably maximum cost will be about $300,000.
Yeah. And as we
And
collect
it
more,
does
the
not
fund
affect our-
increases.
It does not impact our
Right.
general fund at all.
Right.
And at the
And
same
the
time, we're empowering our constables department.
And the ones that are going to use it are the law enforcement officers?
Yes, sir. That is the plan.
The constables or,
The constable units, we plan to gear up the constable units, the actual vehicles, the
All right.
trucks, so they can serve and be safer.
we have a motion and a second to
Judge.
approve?
These fees that are collected are restricted by statute on how to use them. And they're supposed to be used for technological enhancement for a justice court. So there's a question of whether or not what you're going to purchase is going to be for
Have
that
you
purpose.
have you looked into the legality of it, Joseph?
Yes, Judge. Renan asked me to look at this issue. Attached to the packet is an Attorney General opinion that addressed a similar issue. The county at issue wanted to use the Justice Court Technology Fund to purchase computers for the constables, and the AG basically opined that it was within the Commissioner's Court's authority to make that determination as to whether or not...
So in your
those funds
opinion, we could
be-
go ahead and legally approve this
If-
request?
If the funds are going to be used for equipment that will assist our justice courts, then yes.
Well, for the items that have been told to us by Renan.
And I think that that equipment's going to be used to assist our constables in bringing people into court, issuing warrants, and
All right.
in the past, they've had
It all
to
would
use
tie in together.
other law enforcement departments
All
to
right,
get that
well,
information.
We have
So
a
yes.
motion and a second. Those in favor
Can you
indicate by
issue
saying
a
aye.
legal opinion to that effect?
I think she already did, and my motion stands, Judge.
All right,
Can
we
you do
have
that?
a second.
As a point of information, we're supplying some minor equipment for the scofflaw program as well, since it is also related to JP. It's included in the verbiage.
Good morning, Auditor and Commissioners Court. The constables don't have their own system. The constables use the JP system. The way the law reads is any enhancements, automations that will assist the JP courts. So just because they work as constables, what they do all day long is assist the JP courts. They adjudicate cases faster, they're going to service faster, we're going to have faster disposition rates, and everything is working towards JP Justice Courts only.
right, thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
I understand all that, but I'm going to need a legal opinion from the
Judge.
district attorney's office.
Well, we just got one
My
from
motion
Joseph.
stands.
Hold on,
She
Commissioner.
just gave an opinion, and
That's what Josie just did. Gave us a legal opinion.
But can you do it in writing? That's what I was wondering.
Well, I'm sure she'll put it in writing.
Okay.
Put it
Oh,
in a
that's fine.
memo and provide it to the auditor, Joe.
I will, Judge.
All right, those in favor of the motion as made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Have a good morning.
you were listening, right?
Yeah, but I need it in writing. That's not in writing.
All right, our HIDA task force. Anyone here to make a presentation in behalf of the HIDA task force?
Judge, I don't
Valde,
see
do you wanna
anyone.
do
I'll
it?
go ahead and present it. Yes, we've done this before in the past. They have an award, which is, for the record, G11SS0002A, and it's a supplement number 3, and it's between the Hidalgo County and the Executive Office of the President on the National Drug Control Policy. This is a HIDA task force grant, and we're increasing our award by $53,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is the certification of the revenues by the county auditor.
Move to approve.
Valde, can we do 2, 3, and 4?
2, 3, and 4, yes. And just for the record, item 3 is the
I'll move to approve items 2, 3, and 4, Judge.
appropriation.
All right, need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 13, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My
Morning.
first item is a request for exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Code, Government Code 262.024A4.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 8.2 is the presentation of the scoring grid in which three firms were evaluated and rated. The firms are Cruz Hogan Consultants, 96.3, Half and Associates, 96.0, and Rio Delta Engineering at 90.0. This is for a San Juan flood drainage improvement project. Would you like to rank them in that order?
Move to approve the ranking as presented, and go ahead and approve item number 3 as well to authorize, authority to authorize.
We need to have two separate motions.
Separate? Okay. I'll move to approve to accept the rankings as presented.
The presentation of the scoring grid as presented.
Correct.
All right.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3 is the authority to negotiate the professional service contract with Cruz Hogan Consultants.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is the approval to reclassify the following full-time position. This is reviewed and recommended by the Classification Committee as per Section 3.22 of the Civil Service Commission rules. This is slot 0001 out of the home program, and the position title as it currently stands is Compliance Division Manager, and we'd like the approval for the proposed Division Director, UCP Housing.
Move to approve.
Is this in accordance with the compensation plan that we had a workshop on last week?
This is part of the process that's been undertaken. There is a review process, so it's within the compensation program, so.
Mr. Fraser, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. What was
I
it?
was asking, Valde, if this was in accordance with the compensation and classification plan that court had approved. My understanding is that reclassifications will be entertained during the budget process.
I believe there was also
I think you answered
wording
that
in regards
question already,
to...
didn't you, Balde?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
There's a motion.
Need a second?
I think we,
You need what, sir?
I thought you okay now.
Second.
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
No, they're acting on it. yeah.
Was that a second, Commissioner?
Yes, sir.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is the approval to add the Division Director, UCP Housing, as classification to the Hidalgo County position inventory.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3 is to delete the Compliance Division Manager 1 and Division Compliance Manager classifications from the Hidalgo County position inventory.
Move to approve items 3 and 4, approval of revised salary schedule.
Second.
Was that a second?
Yes, sir.
All right. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So what is the effect of what we did? Did you delete it?
I deleted the titles of division managers and created the title Division Director.
And you gave that, was it the same individual? Did they
It's
get a raise?
the current position. I had several compliance division managers in my department, Judge. Some had already received that title change. This one had not yet received the title change.
So we're not doing anything new or novel about this?
What we're doing...
You're following the classifications that have already in place?
Yes, sir. I am following. We had some already in place, and this one I'm just changing title, and along with the title change, of course, there was an
Did
increase.
the new salary schedule provide for a pay raise?
Did it, Valde?
I'm sorry.
Did the new salary schedule provide for a pay raise? It did in this case?
Yes, it
Yes,
did
sir.
in this case. There was an adjustment.
The question, Judge, is, are we deviating from procedure for the budgeting process?
Well, you
I
can,
think that you raised the question of the auditor.
well, my concern is, look, my concern is real basic. You know, people are getting pay raises by the creation of new positions and without having to go in there and do it during the budget cycle.
So, Judge, if I may, I started the process for this particular project
Yes.
in June of 2010. I have had numerous visits with the Classification Committee. I have had the Budget Office send staff over to job audit the positions so that they would be able to make a recommendation to the court that I am in compliance with what I'm requesting.
Okay.
So a year and a half later, I am now getting to this particular point.
And I'm not suggesting that what you're doing is improper at all in any way. I'm just saying that we just created a compensation plan review committee earlier this morning.
Yes, sir, I'm fully aware.
And the reason being because of all of the disparities that exist in pay schedules within departments, within positions, et cetera.
And I'm looking forward to participating in that committee.
Good.
It is a time that, as I've expressed in the past to many of the department heads, many of the budget staff people, I was not consulted from the onset regarding this particular classification plan that was forced upon the Auburn County Program Department. So at this moment, I am only trying to correct what I believe was wrong, and I am coming before the court to ask for your blessing.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. And let's then move on to item
Yeah,
C.
excuse me, Judge. You were not approached, were not asked, did not provide any input for this particular step and grade?
For the one that was executed back in 2010-9?
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, we did meet with departments. We've also met, after the implementation, we've met with Ms. Serna again, and we have already made some changes, corrected some classifications. Again, this particular one was one that we had not brought to court. Our office did do a review. We did a site visit with the personnel that was involved. We made our recommendation to the classification committee, or my staff provided a recommendation to the classification committee. We reviewed it and have since concurred with that recommendation, and are recommending approval to the court to make this change.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio.
All right, let's move on.
Did we get the approval of the revised salary schedule?
Yes, I believe that motion covered 3 and 4.
Thank you. Precinct 4 is requesting the approval for the purchase and installation of an irrigation system at J.R. Milo Ponce Memorial Park by Green Thumb Irrigation and Landscaping, and the contract amount would be $21,809.84.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D is requesting the approval to execute the 2011 home shoulder contracts with Affordable Homes of South Texas, also known as ASTI, and Proyecto Azteca.
Vote to approve.
Second.
Oh, thank you.
Item E is consideration...
Hold on, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'm sorry, Judge, the item E is consideration and approval to revise resolution authorizing the submission of the contract amendment number 5 to Hidalgo County's Texas General Land Office GLO contract number 10-5066-000-5049, also known as disaster recovery. The amendment is to incorporate additional funding by Precinct 2 so that we may have a full contract amount of $1,645,463.71.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item F is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 for professional engineering services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2 is a presentation of the scoring grid for this project and the City of Edcouch, and it's a water and sewer improvement project. The firms evaluated were Quintanilla, Headley and Associates with a grade of 95, Half Associates with a grade of 91, and Rio Delta Engineering with a grade of 84.66. Would you like to rank them in this order?
These were the only firms that submitted to...
These were the firms that were requested by the City of Edcouch so that their staff could evaluate. When their staff evaluated, then we went through the process.
Okay.
It was the 3 selected. Would you like to rank them in that order?
So moved.
Yes.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3 is the authority to negotiate the professional service contract with Quintanilla, Headley and Associates.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
G is requesting the award of bids and approval of contract for the demolition and reconstruction of the following: 1 unit in the City of Elsa and 1 unit in the City of Edcouch in the amount of $74,000 to J.R. Limas Construction. and 1 unit in the city of San Juan in the amount of $45,740 to G&G Contractors.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
H is the CDBG Disaster Recovery Program is requesting the awarded bids and approval of contract for the demolition and reconstruction of 1 unit in the countywide area, 1 in the city of Mercedes, and for a total amount of $82,350 to G&G Contractors.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Requesting a contract amendment consisting of 130-day contract extension on a contract with the Texas Department of Agriculture, also known as TDA, for the construction of sewer improvements in Colonia de Anda and Science in Precinct 1, and this shall be under the TDA Colonia Construction Grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
J is requesting the approval of an 8-month extension for 3 urban county program, the Community Housing Development Organization contracts. And the reason we're asking for this extension is so that we may be able to meet the expenditure deadline for that's submitted to us by HUD.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Our final item is requesting the authorization to amend the Homeless Prevention and Rapid Rehousing Program contract with Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid and the Urban County Program. The amendment will reduce the current contract amount of $257,137.10 by $16,900. Their new contract amount would be $240,237.10.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Judge,
Thank you.
there's no action required or needed on the next item?
Hello, Norma Longoria. I'd like to explain something to you all this morning on my item. I came before Mr. Ofracio, says no action to it. I was here September 27th, 2011 to approve for your all's approval for the WIC grant, and it was approved at that time. And I just wanted to explain that within the WIC grant, there's several small pots of money. And we inadvertently left off the certification of revenues for this pot of money of $8,000. So that's what I'm here for today, is just to certify those revenues.
But you need action to get it certified, do you not?
But it was already acted on in September.
But we didn't act on it with this item included.
The paperwork is included, Judge, and the amount is in there for the certification of revenues from the state, and the letter was attached at that time for the approval of the total WIC grant.
Then why is Mr. Ofracio saying we should not take action?
So I believe there was no specific acceptance for that item, Judge, on the action that was taken. The court needs to accept the grant before I certify the revenue.
The court needs to do what?
Accept the grant funding
Right.
before I can certify it. And I don't believe that item was accepted by the Commissioner's Court.
Well, if we accept it now, subject to your looking at it, make sure that everything is there and it's proper.
There's no agenda item to that effect.
Well, it's approval of certification of revenues.
Right, and what I'm saying, I cannot certify unless you accept. And so that's why I have not certified the revenues yet.
Well, but if one of the steps that you need is for us to accept it, why don't we accept it under this? Can we accept it under this agenda item?
I don't see anything wrong with the agenda item.
All right, then let's go ahead and do that.
Move to approve the grant
Second.
and continue to the certification of revenues as well.
Judge, the agenda items to accept the certification that I'm supposed to make, I have not made it yet. I have not. I submit a letter certifying the revenues. I have not submitted the letter because, in my
Mr. Crane, didn't you
opinion,
just say it was
Mr.
all-
Ofracio, if they're there, I mean, why are we going to be delaying it? If you look at it and it turns out that that money or that item was not there, then that's another thing. But if it was there, but there was some inadvertence that led to that not being considered as part of that other motion, we can correct it now, and legally, we can correct it.
I'll go back and see, I couldn't find any action where you accepted the grant award. That's why I cannot certify it. But if I go back and determine that you took action, then I certify it.
All right, but does this motion, Commissioner, imply that we're accepting that, that part of the grant?
That's correct.
All right. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Item 15, our right-of-way.
Yes, Judge, Commissioners, item 15A, consideration and approval to purchase a certain tract of land, also known as Parcel 13, San Carlos Drainage Improvement, Trenton Drain Project, Anastasio Sanchez, for the sum of $28,500.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 16, our Planning Department.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, Raul Sacin, Planning Administrator. Our first item is reimbursement of cash deposits. I will point out on 16A, 1C, and F, there was a concern by the auditor regarding, I guess, the submittal of the numbers that we submitted. It's my understanding that Olga Garza from your office contacted us this morning, and we resubmitted the correct information. Would you still like no action on it, or can we proceed with it?
It needs to be corrected, so if you're correct.
It's corrected this morning, Ms. Garza, and then my office resubmitted it back to her already.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
Have you
excellent.
seen the correction?
No, I
So-
haven't seen it, but
But you're suggesting approval without seeing it?
I think he trusts me, Commissioner. I think.
It's not a matter.
I think he trusts.
Actually, I'm making a point here.
I know, sir.
I don't doubt him, but if you want to doubt him, don't take action on it.
Move the items for reimbursement.
We'll
Cash
go
deposits.
individually. Wind Ranches Subdivision Precinct 4, the amount for reimbursement, they're all, for the record, on-site sewage facility reimbursements. They've been installed already, the facilities. Our health department has inspected them, and we've gotten a letter. If you don't mind, Judge and Commissioners, can I read all of them into the record, and then you take action collectively?
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. Wind Ranches Subdivision, Precinct 4, amount of $2,000 reimbursement. Moulin Rouge Subdivision, Precinct 4, amount of $2,000. Riera Ranches Phase 1, Precinct 1, $6,000. Palace Station Phase 2, Precinct 4, $1,000. Texas Station Phase 1 and 2, Precinct 4, $4,000. And Riera Ranches Phase 2, Precinct 1, $6,000. And again, those have already been inspected by the health, and everything's in order for reimbursement.
I need a motion to approve that reimbursement on all these items.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2, Judge, if I may, a discussion action to waive the $30 utility certificates. These are something that we've been considering. This is part of the TxDOT project where they're installing beacon lights at certain intersections. If it's okay for the court, may I go ahead and read all the intersections? For the record, intersection of mile 10 north and mile 4.5 west, intersection of mile 6.5 and Quintero Road and Melissa Street, intersection of mile 10 north and Victoria Road, intersection of mile 2 west and mile 12.5 north, intersection of 5.5 west and Lantana Road, intersection of mile 6 west and mile 11 north road. Again, everything is in order. This is for the beacon lights that are going to be flashing for those particular intersections as part of the TxDOT project they are doing, and they're going to be setting up meters, and we just need this exemption since the county is going to be the one paying for the services for those meters.
Vote to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item 3, Judge, if I may, discussion possible action to authorize the Plan Department to review a commercial development application for Lot 2 Citrus Tree subdivision. Mr. Arredondo, my planning supervisor, is passing out some exhibits showing an aerial of the subdivision, Citrus Tree subdivision, with some pictures of each lot contained within that subdivision. There's an application for a commercial use within that subdivision. There's a deed restriction that restricts the use of residential only. This item was discussed a couple of weeks ago, and I was requested to put it on for discussion and guidance from the court on action to process the application. Mr. Arredondo can brief you on the details. He's been in communication with legal counsel, both for the applicant, and he is present. The applicant is here with his legal counsel. There are some residents of the subdivision present as well. if I may, Judge, and I wish the court, if Mr. Arredondo can give you a quick overview of it, and then allow for the neighbors, if you so choose, and the actual applicant to present their case as well, sir.
In looking at the first exhibit, the site location of this proposed business is number 2?
Yes. That is correct. That is correct, Judge.
What's that property or that tract that's right in front of 1, 2, and 3?
On the west, that's the road, sir, Alamo Road.
Okay.
That's Alamo Road there.
That just right-of-way then?
Yes, sir, that is right-of-way, straight right-of-way, yes, sir. It's strictly right-of-way there. It's located north of Eldora Road. That's the nearest intersection, northeast corner. It was recently located in Precinct 2 with the new adjustments. It's my understanding now it is located in Precinct 1.
And what kind of business is it?
My understanding is a car lot they're applying for, sir.
All right.
That's the application. Ms. Adderley can brief you on the discussions you've had, and then we'll afford an opportunity for the audience.
Judges and Commissioners, good morning. TJ Arredondo for the record. I have spoken to the owners of the subdivision, residents in that subdivision. They are here today. If you'd like, I can ask them to come up and I think voice their concerns. There are some concerns about the proposed business. There are some restrictions that you have attached. Mr. Oviedo, the applicant for the car lot, is present. His attorney is present. My understanding is there is, according to his attorney, there are some conflicting information on the deed restrictions. I'll leave that up to council to iron out, but there is some mention of a restriction to non-commercial use in that subdivision. Now, the legalities, again, I'll defer to Mr. Crane and Mr. King. But there is, for your information, some residents in the audience, and the applicant is here as well.
All right, well, I do think it's important if they want to voice some of their concerns into the record. Good morning, sir. How are you doing there, Mr. King?
We're here not the residents first.
Right. Yeah.
We're here not the residents first.
You want to hear the residents first?
Yes.
You represent Mr. King?
My name is Marjorie Black.
John, you represent the applicant? All right.
Thank you. I can't hear them at all back there either. My name is Marjorie Blacklaws. My husband and I developed Citrus Tree subdivision as a solely residential lot. Adequate provision is made to ensure that there's no commercial in there. A car lot is, I consider to be an offensive business to have in a residential lot. The provision for the subdivision is set up for 30 years, and then something could be changed by 75% vote. This is not going to happen. This person who bought this lot was apparently told by the person he bought it from that there was no restrictions. This has nothing to do with the people that are in the lot or the people that developed the lot. If he has recourse, he should go back to the person he sold it from. Everybody here that could come today has come. Some of them had to work. Pardon me, I have laryngitis today. Everybody's losing a day of work, and this is not right.
What lot do you own?
I am the developer. My husband is a developer.
Oh, you are the developer?
We are saying that this is definitely residential lot. It definitely shows no commercial.
Yes.
All these people's lots are going to be devaluated because have a car lot where somebody's painting cars or spraying cars in that lot.
So basically, when you developed it,
Yes, we did.
how long ago did you develop this subdivision?
It actually was in August the 1st, 2006.
And your restrictions
we've had no
solely state that it's all residential, is what you're saying?
Pardon me?
Your restrictions state that it's 100% residential?
Yes, sir, they've always been there.
Okay.
I think some of the other people would like to speak too. I think they're very, very concerned about this problem. But also, when this person set up, I can't move cars into the lot in the middle of the summer. He was actually asked to move them. He finally did move them, but he was talking about spraying cars, wrecked cars. I just don't know what to do with a person like that.
Can you tell us your name and address for the record, please?
I told you, my name is Marjorie Blacklaws. My husband's name is Roy. We live on the corner of Eldora and 907. Our physical address is 1400 FM 907.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else that wants to speak?
Probably should say that the Appendix A was attached to all contracts that went out. If Appendix A was lost, then somebody had removed it. There's only one lot that didn't have Appendix A, and that was one of the first lots that we sold, and it was cash.
They were all in there to start. They were all in there to start.
They're all in.
Yeah.
Marge says to the bookkeeper, she says they were all there, and we get a copy of each one as it is sent out to the individual lot owners.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning, sir.
My name is Odon Bocanegra Jr. for the record. I live at 904 West Eldora Road in Alamo. I'm in the Citrus Tree subdivision. I live on lot 10, and it's a residential subdivision. And here are the covenants. If you want me to go all over them, it's in the declarations.
And I've been provided with a copy of restrictions on page number 2. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes, and other ones over the other pages, and all these started on the restrictions since July 31st of 2006. And then it was recorded in the court August the 1st of 2006. And here are some of the restrictions.
Unless they're different, we already have a copy of them.
Okay.
Are they the same road?
Yes, sir, they are.
All right.
And, okay, if you have the same copies, and I would like to show you only two of the pictures here. If one of your committee group want to see them, here as it stands is a mobile home, and it's for residential use only. The purpose of these pictures is for, supposedly for a car lot that there was before these pictures were taken, and now the cars, they're not there, but there's a lot of, I would say, nuisance, and it's hazardous to health, and it can create a lot of, let's say, possums, snakes, and what have you. Here are the pictures of some of the parts that are still there, and behind this, on the mobile home. And as you say, you already got the rest of this agenda on the covenant. Well, so this is what I have to say.
Well, the restrictions are, I don't know,
The
you have it,
restrictions are
Commissioner?
there.
I don't have it. Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
on page 5, section 7, it says the direction of these restrictions is for a period of 30 years from thereafter, and shall continue automatically in effect for additional periods of 10 more years, unless otherwise agreed to, during writing by the owners of at least 3/4 or 3/4 of the subdivision lots.
Yes, sir. And these were passed in 2006.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. My name is Enrique Pruneda, and I live in Lot 6 with my wife, Alma Martinez. The address there is 1000 West Eldora Road. And when we purchased these lots from the Blacklaws, we understood the restrictions as they state in that document you hold there. And our opinion is that we'd like that to continue as it states in those documents, and keep the lots as residential and non-commercial use. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else desire to speak?
Good morning. My name is Rodolfo Lopez. I live in 1004 West Eldora, lot number 5.
As my neighbor was mentioning, that since the beginning, when we first purchased the lots, we had the understanding that they were going to be residential area only, and we just would like to keep it like that. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Hi, my name is Armando Escamilla, and we have lot 3.
We want for it to be also, like it says on the restrictions, residential. We're besides lot number 2.
Yeah, and we plan to build a house there, and we don't want like a mobile home there, because my house isn't gonna be worth. We have a mobile home right next to it, so I would like it to say residential.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jorge de la Cerda, I'm from Lot 4. I was one of the second or third person that bought the lot from Black Law. I understood that it was going to be a residential, all the Citrus Trail subdivision, and I hope it stays the same way.
All right, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sergio Perez. I own one of the lots there, and I'm with them.
What lot, sir?
I don't have the information with me because I just got the letter from the mail, the letter to be present here at 9 o'clock, so it was last minute for me. But we purchased residential. I don't want my property to be, the value of my property to be, go down, because now we have, mobile homes and stuff there. So I would like to say strictly residential. Thank you.
All right. Is that everybody?
Sir, I forgot to address, excuse me. Your Honor, I forgot to address my neighbor. He could not be present here today, but he is in for the covenants of these restrictions. His name is Raul Medina, attorney at law. I'm representing him.
And what lot does Mr. Medina?
He's got, in the Citrus Tree subdivisions, he's got lot 11.
And Judge, Mr. Medina did make a phone call to my office expressing his concern about this issue, so it has been noted to my office, no different.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm representing him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, the applicant is present, sir, with his attorney?
Yes.
How many residents in the subdivision, from the subdivision do we have here, Mr. Singh? Yes, sir. How many residents do we have total?
It's an 11-lot subdivision, Commissioner, but it appears that right now, built out, there's only 4 residents out there.
Actually, there's
Oh, it's
6.
5, huh? Is it 5? Oh, yeah, but there's 4 homes out there right now, built.
Yeah.
But
And the proposed lot that they're looking at trying to have a commercial development is lot 2?
Yes, sir, the hashed area there on the west side.
And we have the owners of lot 3 and 4 here present.
Right now, one of the gentlemen said that he was lot 3, the gentleman with ABC. He said that he eventually was going to build a house and wanted to maintain it residential. He doesn't want anything else, car lot or mobile home or anything next to his home. But we did send out notices, Judge and Commissioners. We sent out notices to the applicants, and we followed up with phone calls with all the owners to make contact about this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's hear from the applicant now.
Judge, Commissioners, my name is John King. I'm an attorney retained by Oscar Oviedo and Jorge.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
I'm sorry. My name is John King. I'm retained by the folks who bought this lot, Mr. Oscar Oviedo and Mr. Jorge Oviedo. Before they bought this lot, they went to the county planning department. They talked to one of the assistants there and showed them where the lot was. The assistant looked it up and said, "You folks can put a car lot there." They went and bought the lot. Before they bought the lot, they checked to see if there are any deed restrictions that affected this lot, and there are none. What you have been given is a set of deed restrictions filed in the year 2006, which do say that this is residential subdivision. But whomever filed that deed restriction in the year 2006 failed to attach a legal description to it. It refers to an Exhibit A, and there is no Exhibit A attached to those set of deed restrictions. As a result, with no legal description, those deed restrictions could not be filed geographically. So when the purchasers of the lot had us go look and see if there were any deed restrictions, they were not indexed, they were not there. Now, the other thing is that after they purchased the lot, they were given building permits. They were given a permit for the trailer, they were given a permit for the wiring, they were given a permit for the lighting.
When did they buy the lot?
They bought the lot last, was it May or June, gentlemen? May of 2011. The permits were yanked in November of 11 after the owners of the subdivision came and after they convinced the planning department that there were valid restrictions. After I talked to the planning department, they finally admitted, yes, there is no Exhibit A. They told me now that as of a week ago, there have been correction restrictions filed. I've not yet seen them. The problem is that these are deed restrictions, which are private restrictions. The county has a right to enforce private restrictions by having someone who wants them enforced come in and pay a deposit and having the county attorney go to court to try to enforce the restrictions if these are enforceable. There's a private right to enforce the restrictions. What I see happening at this point is they're attempting to use you to enforce private restrictions that I don't believe can be enforced in a court of law, and I hope it doesn't get to that point. There is a Texas Supreme Court case called Myrad Properties that came out in 2010 having to do with correction documents. And then in that particular case, there was a deed for one lot. The folks corrected it to be a deed for two lots, and the Supreme Court said can't do that. You can't increase the legal description on a recorded document. So it's going to be our position, if this gets heard at any further place, that the deed restrictions are improper, they don't contain a legal description, and the purported correction deed restrictions are also improper. But completely aside from the deed restrictions, look at me, if you would, at the plat of Citrus Street subdivision. I'm told that this, as presented by the planning department, is a Google Earth picture that was not current. It was Google Earth maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago. But if you look where it says site location, which is lot 2, which is my client's lot, and then look at lot 4. You might need to have a magnifying glass, but what you're seeing at lot 4, if you look down there, is a shed and an 18-wheeler with a truck and a trailer. If you turn to where it says lot 4 on about the 4th page, all you see from the 3rd page, all you see from the street is a very nice looking house. If you turn back to the 2nd page and look where it says lot 1, that's the lot beside my client's lot looking back into the subdivision, and you can see right there that behind the house on lot 4 is a large shed for working on 18-wheelers. Up in this picture appears to be one 18-wheeler. And if I might publish these. You can see that when my clients took these pictures over the weekend, there were two 18-wheeler trailers out there.
But are they there because the people that live there drive them for a living, or?
That's absolutely correct. They have taken the back of their house and made it into something to support their business, driving the 18-wheelers.
They're just park it there, isn't it?
Well, if you note the shed, if these restrictions were valid, Your Honor, under use restrictions, it says that they can be used for single-family purposes only. No building can be attached, structure intended for adaptive business purpose shall be erected, no improvement or structure whatever, other than a private dwelling, house, patio wall, swimming pool, or related building, garage, or servants' quarters. Our position is that there's already a non-conforming use out there, but the big issue is the county in the business of enforcing private deed restrictions? That's a precedent that would be set if you do this.
But it's hard to ignore the language that says that all lots are currently for single-family residential purposes only.
That's extremely difficult to ignore if this were restrictions that were filed with a legal description that applied it to this subdivision.
Well,
Is this-
is an
is this
Exhibit A
lot-
part of it?
There is no Exhibit A, Your Honor.
Well, Exhibit A, the one that I'm looking at, covers all of the Citrus Street subdivision.
Yes, sir, but Exhibit A was not attached to the recorded document. There was nothing of record. This is why the folks who made the subdivision were so careful to tell you, when they handed out restrictions to the first buyers, that Exhibit A's were attached. But the restrictions that were recorded in the courthouse do not contain the Exhibit A. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Is that only for lot, whatever lot number lot number 2 that your clients bought, or
No, sir.
throughout?
There is no Exhibit A. They have Exhibit A's on documents they're carrying around. I have the recorded document right here from the courthouse.
Okay, hold on. I'll let you speak.
If I may approach, this is recorded under document number 1646029. It's the 2006 document.
The document you're looking at, I believe we have a copy of, and it starts the Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions for Citrus Street subdivision.
Well, we could ask, sir, Mr. Arredondo, is there an Exhibit A on the original recorded document?
Commissioners,
I'm sorry.
the original recording
TJ, I think there was a question for Mr.
Right.
King.
The question I have for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
The exact document that you're looking at, we have a copy of, and it so states this Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions for Citrus Tree subdivision. Is this not part of Citrus Tree subdivision? This
It's
lot?
part of Citrus Tree subdivision, but the specific recital is, and under number 1, it is the owner of the property described under Exhibit A. That's the legal description of what these restrictions apply to. We can have all the precatory language possible, but this document is not capable, or was not capable, and has not been capable of being indexed where it can be used by the public because it does not contain a legal description.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. King, but the way this document starts off is this declaration.
Yes, I
This
agree with
declaration.
you.
John, Exhibit A contains a meets and bounds,
Sir,
a 20-acre tract of land, and it gives the meets and bounds that I believe lot number 2 is a part of. And then it says, now we know it as all of Citrus Tree subdivision.
Ramon, that exhibit's not in the recorded document. They gave you a bad exhibit.
let me clarify, Judge. The original deed restrictions did not have the exhibit. The Black Laws were made aware of that. They went to their attorney here recently after the agenda was posted and the exhibits were, or our exhibits were attached. So they have been since corrected. What's attached to your package right now may not have it, but there are amended restrictions.
Was it attached to any of the deeds between lots 1 through lot 11?
There are, I'm looking at a copy of a deed of trust, which we do not look at. We look at the warranty deed to the property, not the deed of trust. The deed of trust does have an exhibit, does have the restrictions on the deed of trust.
Yeah, but
So
the
everybody
deed-
should have received that.
Everybody, when they purchased, received an Exhibit A. And it was filed, but you're saying it was attached to the deed of trust, not to the deed?
There are restrictions on the deed of trust, and there are separate deed restrictions that were filed separately, apart from the deed of trust. Now, everyone received it through their deed of trust. The separately filed deed restrictions, which the exhibit was excluded.
Let me ask you this very specific question. Exhibit A, the one that we're reading that's very clear, was it attached to any of the deeds that were executed between the Blackwells and the buyers between 2006 and 2011 when these gentlemen bought the land?
Your Honor, none of the deeds have restrictions attached.
Can you answer that, Ms. Black?
Yes, everybody had, Mr. Morales, who bought that lot originally, I have a copy of what he...
Well, you say everybody has them, were they recorded, or did you just give it to
Yes,
us?
they were all recorded. People have their numbers. Mr. Morales, who had that lot, has the number. I didn't bring it. I have his file at home. It also has Exhibit A. Thank you very much.
In 2011, was it your family that sold them the lots?
No.
No?
They sold to somebody else, Judge.
And then that guy told you.
Oh, you sold it to somebody that sold it to them?
Yes.
That's correct, Judge.
That person that you sold it to, Was he provided with a copy
Yes,
of
sir.
Exhibit
Yes,
A?
sir, he was. I have it at home, I can bring it to you.
You're saying that yes, he was?
Yes, he was provided with that. It has Exhibit A on it, thank you.
All right.
Your Honor, I have the recorded document from Ms. Blackwell to the Morales. There is no restriction referred to in the deed. There is no attached restriction with the attached Exhibit A. The lady is trying to mislead you by saying she gave them a copy of it, but you specifically asked her if the deed as recorded had them. This deed does not contain it. None of the lots that were sold contained any restrictions. The restrictions they relied on a record were the ones they filed with no Exhibit A. This is an issue that if they were trying to enforce these deed restrictions privately, that the court would have to determine and we would produce recorded documents from the county. And the folks are here telling you that what they want you to hear. They made a mistake. I'm sorry they made the mistake. My clients bought the property relying on it being a clean piece of property that they could use for their business. Now they're having the right to use their property taken away by having their permits pulled because these folks want you to enforce deed restrictions that are not enforceable in a court of law.
All right, there was a gentleman that wanted to make a statement on Exhibit A. Yes. When did you get that Exhibit A?
When we purchased the land from
When did you buy your lot?
I was like,
2008, no, 2008, May 6,
In 2008?
Yes,
And it had an Exhibit A
Yes.
attached to it?
Yes.
And was it recorded?
yes, I came to check on it and it's recorded.
And was it recorded?
Yes.
At that time, in 2008?
Yes, yes,
All right.
it's here in the site.
And you own Lot 1?
Lot 3,
Lot 3?
Yes.
That's the one right next door?
yes.
Can I
Okay,
look at their documents? May I?
yes.
Steve, while he's looking at it, what is your position as legal counsel for the
I think
Commissioners Court?
one issue that we haven't asked, and I asked Chief
Steve,
today-
get your mic closer, please.
I'm sorry, I think one issue we haven't asked, regardless of these issues, is what are the restrictions on the plat?
The restrictions on the plat are standard, set by the state for the model subdivision rules, one single-family dwelling per lot, that's a restriction. There's a plat note, the subdivision doesn't go into detail as far as what is restricted, the uses in detail, what is restricted and what is not. That's the reason why we went ahead and issued a development permit for that mobile home. We don't review deed restrictions prior to somebody coming in and applying for a permit. We were made aware of that situation after the fact. That's why there's a mobile home sitting out there right now. But the plat is very simple. There's only a restriction to one single-family dwelling per lot, and that is it. There are other restrictions, floodplain requirements, elevation requirements, but as far as details, as far as uses are concerned, no.
The plat did talk about single-family?
Correct. Which is a standard requirement by all residential subdivisions in our county.
CJ, that's what it said, why did we initially issue a permit?
Well, it was for residential use for a mobile home.
Oh, that's one.
Okay.
It was for residential use. I received a complaint after the fact, said there's cars out there, junk cars. That's when I notified the applicant, hey, there's a situation here. They provided us with the deed restrictions. I mentioned it to the applicant. So it's been on hold for a while. I asked either party to come forward with something to help me out as far as going forward or rejecting the application. And we're here today.
So basically, TJ, when you issued the permit, it was issued for residential use?
Correct. They applied and they signed as residential use.
Later, the party came back and applied for
Then the intention, after the fact,
to operate a business, or what's the situation on that?
they moved the mobile home out there. They started moving in cars. According to the residents, they started spray painting. So I received the complaint that said there's some commercial activity here that's prohibited. So I notified the applicants of the complaint. So that's when he said, okay, well, what I really want to do is open up a car lot. Well, now comes a commercial application.
So they never applied to the health department for proper permitting or anything? To operate a body shop or whatever?
No, they have not received a development permit for commercial. They haven't gone through the fire marshal, they haven't gone through any other.
That's why we're here, right?
And
That's
this
why we're here.
property, and this property is not zoned commercial?
There's no zoning in the county, Commissioners. The state hasn't authorized the county to adopt zoning ordinances.
Isn't this in the ETJ of Alamo?
This is, I believe, in the ETJ of Alamo, that's
Well,
correct.
then they need to approve zoning if it's in the ETJ, is my understanding.
No, sir, the plat's recorded, there is really no, the city's not involved in any sort of
Is there any
post-development.
anything else you want to add, John?
Just two things. One is that this is a proper deed and a proper deed of trust, and it's not a copy of the restrictions. The Exhibit A attached to their deed of trust is merely the description of their lot, Lot 3 Citrus. It does have a save and accept down here, subject to easements, restrictions, reservations that appear upon the recorded map and dedication, but it doesn't refer to the restrictions so anyone can find them. Just for the record, I would like for my client to confirm that before, I've just heard what Mr. Arredondo had said, but again, his statement is that he went before
I have
they
a few
bought
questions
it.
for your
Can you
client.
get
if I
closer?
may.
I apologize. Again, my client, if he were to testify, is going to say that before they bought this property, they went to the planning department, told them that their plan was to live on the property in their trailer and to open a mobile home lot, and were told they could do so. Now, I do not know which of your assistants told them that, but they relied on that in purchasing the lot. Now, the economy being what it is, they're not able to open their business, and they can't make a living doing this. And again, this issue is one of, I believe, of restrictions, not one of county regulations.
All right,
Again, Judge, we have no zoning. There was no hint in the subdivision plat that was prohibited use. We were only made aware of it after the fact by the property owners in the subdivision. We've had two experiences with this type of deed restrictions in the county since I've been there for the last 10 years. One of them was, there was an actual injunction filed against the builder of the commercial property. So that was actually filed and sent to us. So they stopped construction on a drive-through on a property that was restricted to residential use. The other instance, and I think Ms. Ramirez is here from the DA's office, was the county was actually sued by a developer because they were developing multifamily, and again, there was no hint of a restriction on the actual subdivision plat, but we were brought into to court in a lawsuit. Those are the two instances that I'm aware of as far as violations of deed restrictions and county involvement.
well, because of the actions that we took, we probably will be involved in any action in this case also, no matter what decision we make. But I do think we need, we've heard from everybody here, I believe. Yes, ma'am.
May I say something else, please? The restrictions also indicate no mobile homes. It tells what kind of a house, what the construction is to be. There's absolutely no mobile homes, and now we have a trailer sitting on the lot. He hasn't moved it yet. We'd like to get it moved, please.
All right. So what is the desire of the court?
I have a question for the owners of the property, if I may. When you purchased property, sir, from the previous owner, did he mention to you that there was any restrictions at all?
No, sir, not at all.
None at all?
No.
And so when,
And before even purchasing or trying to buy the property, we went to the planning department and asked if I was going to live there. Me, myself, Oscar Villa Jr. was going to live there, and I was going to sell cars. And I told them where I wanted to put the trailer, and the gentleman said there's no problem. Go ahead. And then that's what I did. I turned around, purchased the property, gave it down, got a permit for the trailer as residential because I was going to live there. And then my brother said, well, go ahead and turn it into commercial because later on you might want to have more light, you might want to have a certain amount of water. Let's turn it to commercial. And that's what we did. We turned to commercial. And then we were about to get the permits. The mobile home permit was there, the light, the water, and then there was a complaint. There was cars there on the back, but they were going to the recycling center. We went and crushed them and threw them to the recycling center. We do have some parts there, but they're personal use. I mean, we don't have a junkyard. I spoke to every single lot owner. Lot number 1, he has no problem. Lot number 7 has no problem. I spoke to lot number 4. He said, I don't want my taxes going up. I spoke to lot number 7. He said, I don't want my taxes going up. He spoke to lot number 9, and he said, I don't want no taxes going up. And I spoke to number 11, the lawyer, Mr. Medina. And he said, as long as lot number 10 is content, I have no problems. I'll go with him, with lot number 10. But I spoke to Mr. Bocanegra, he said, I just don't want you there. I don't want any commercial because it says on the plan. And, I mean, we purchased because we want to make a living. Everybody I guess everybody there wants to make a living. Mr. George wants to make a living with his trucks, and I have no problem with his machinery or his trucks at all. I just want to make a living. I just want to sell cars. That's about it.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there any other person the court wants to hear from? Oh, yes, sir.
Excuse me, but I would like to add something to all this conversation. As to my knowledge, that I was the first one there to construct, I'm in Lot 10. Some of the first owners sold their lots to other owners and so forth and so on. I don't know how many times the lots were sold and resold and resold. Now, in this covenant, page 3, section C, it says each owner is required to furnish a copy of these restrictions to any buyer of each residence sold in the subdivision. Now, I don't know this gentleman here, but he was not given this restriction copies. Well, the one that he sold, the one that he bought it from, he dropped the ball there. So now it's not like our fault, you know, that the previous owner forgot to hand him over these restrictions copies.
I believe they're saying that when the Blackwell sold to the person that they bought from, there was no Exhibit A.
Oh, yes, there was. We all have it, but I did not bring with me.
Well, I know you had it, but not for that particular lot.
Oh, yes, all the subdivisions in the street, 1 through 11. Yes, sir, there is.
I have a copy, Mr. Morales had it. It's not in my file. It's in my file. I can bring it to you if you'd like to.
Can you go
have
to
it-
the mic, please?
I have it at home. A copy
What is she saying, Raul?
Can you
That
go
she-
to the
She
mic?
says she has a copy at home. I think the issue was when they bought, they did give them the deed restrictions and the attachments with it. My understanding of it, when they recorded the deed restrictions, Judge, recorded it at the courthouse.
Yes.
Not with the individuals, but at the courthouse, the attachment A was missing. It's my understanding, because when you, right now, if you were to search before the new updated restrictions, which are recently amended, and the attachment A was added to them, before that, if you were to search on the courthouse, you would find the restrictions for the subdivision, and it was referred to attachment A, and there was no attachment A in those restrictions. That's what Mr. King has been conveying. The Blackwells, though, when they sold, they are saying that, yes, we gave each individual lot owner the restrictions, a copy of it with the attachment A. May not have been a recorded one, but because the recorded one at the courthouse was not recorded with attachment A, Judge.
So the person that bought it initially may not have recorded it, but he was aware of it.
Yes.
Yes. No,
And they were aware of, as they were being sold, they should have given to that person, say,
And
these restrictions
The legal
apply.
question would be, who had the responsibility to keep on advising all future buyers?
Judge, if I might, that's why you record proper deed restrictions with proper attached Exhibit As, so everyone, either a prospective purchaser or any member of the public, is aware of what the deed restrictions are. The fact that these folks, the Blackwells, chose to rely on interpersonal contact really punishes my clients, because there's nothing of record in the courthouse until the improperly amended, because my clients haven't consented to an amendment. The improperly amended deed restrictions were filed 1 week ago after this was placed on your docket. Again, what's of record in the
Yes.
courthouse?
You need to,
If I may, the item is discussion of possible action to authorize the planning department to review and process a commercial development application for Lot 2, Citrus Street subdivision. Mr. Crane, I believe that, well, I know for a fact that this County Commissioners Court, speaking for myself, has an obligation to represent all our residents in Hidalgo County in a fair and proper manner. I see where the owners are petitioning Commissioners Court to try to operate their business, and I also see where the residents of the Citrus Street subdivision as well are here petitioning against this application, I would say, and in respect to their ownership to the properties, and follow restrictions and their idea of building up their homesteads and having these single-family dwellings there. I see this either way as potential litigation, and I may be wrong. So I would ask that we instruct Mr. Crane to do some research into this fact, Judge, and get back to us and give us the proper information under executive session for potential litigation. Do you see this different, Steve?
I think before we go there, I think one thing the court needs to consider are the restrictions that were on the file plat that were public record and on file.
And we don't have that present.
Which says?
Raul, can you tell me?
TJ told us.
Again, the plat makes no mention of a specific restriction to residential use only, other than the standard state requirement of only one dwelling per lot. That's a standard in all
Does it
subdivisions.
say residential dwelling?
It says only one single-family dwelling per lot. Now, that's a standard note that we need to have on all subdivisions.
But does that mean residential, I think is the question.
Well, yes, but
Single-family home, does it constitute residential, Steve?
In my opinion, it does.
Okay,
Well, that's your research then.
I guess so.
I mean, we've got to bring it to a head at some point, might as well do it now. I think we've heard from everybody involved. We know what the issues are. We've heard from our planning department. We've heard from our lawyers. Is there anybody else that you need to hear from before we act?
Steve, is there anything you want to add to this before we try to make a decision?
I'm putting the deed restrictions aside, and I'm looking solely at the plat restrictions. And if the plat restrictions state only one single-family home dwelling per lot, to me, that says residential.
All right.
Judge, I'm going to make a motion to deny the commercial application at this point.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second to deny the commercial application. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All opposed, I guess I need to, same sign? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, item 17A is the approval of order closing, abandoning, and vacating Tract 1, which is .57 acres, and Tract 2, which is .91 acres of roadway being out of lots 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, Block 49, lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Block 58, and lots 4 and 5, Block 57, the Citrus Fruit Development Company subdivision in Hidalgo County, Texas.
Move for approval?
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 17B, we're asking for no action at this time.
Next item.
1 and 2?
Judge,
What about C?
It's already been approved.
C was approved earlier.
Earlier?
Okay.
what's the action that was taken on 2? No action.
No, there was 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2, no action.
1 and
B,
2,
1
no
and 2.
action. C was already approved earlier.
Right.
So we're on 18A.
Thanks.
Next, we go to item 18. Whoa, whoa. Hang on.
Judge, Commissioners, Ray Salazar with the Department of Budget and Management. I'm here with the Justice of the Peace Enhanced Collections Committee.
Go ahead.
Do the first one. Okay, that's fine. Sir, before you, I have passed out a summary status update on the JP Enhanced Collections Initiative. Page 2 basically states the principal objectives of this program. We're seeking to increase justice of the peace revenues and not automate the JP collections process. Page 2 gives you an update on Operation Clean Slate that was very successful. You have the numbers, you have the number of cases cleared, but most importantly, you see the online efforts coming in at almost 20% of revenues that were generated through this program, the Clean Slate Objective. Page 3 gives you an analysis of the money that came in, what percentage of these cases, and how old were these cases. So just on the face of the sheet, you see that 50% of our revenues coming in from outstanding JP collections are from cases that are 1 to 2 years old. So what that means is that we need to augment our efforts in the beginning to ensure that we are maximizing our collection efforts. Some of the lessons that we learned on the Clean Slate program were that we needed to utilize technology to increase JP revenues. We saw that 50% of JP revenues are attributed to cases less than 24 months old, and that the existing scofflaw program is limited. On page 5, you will see an analysis, a graphical representation of the existing scofflaw program and the enhanced scofflaw program. We're on page 5, Judge.
Page 5. Handout.
So as we continue our efforts, you will see on page 6 that the way the enhanced collections program is intended to flow is the justices of the peace, as they're assessing fines and fees, that information is being collected in a county database. That database in turn will then be migrated to an online portal, which the tax office will also have access to.
We couldn't get this to work, Ray?
I'm sorry, I
So our
apologize.
public will know what we're talking about?
Right,
Sure. That's all right. Go ahead, proceed.
So as we move forward, on page 7, you'll see some of the significant events that have occurred. We've commenced the online payment portal. We've developed master queries, which we'll see shortly, that have to do with outstanding fees and fines. We've received program approval from the district attorney's office and the tax assessor collector. And we've conducted various data verification workshops with the justice of the peace, clerks, and the actual judges. And we've also conducted demonstrations of driver's license readers. So these are efforts to streamline and enhance the JP Collections program. On page 8, you will see an anticipated timeline. And this is February, we continue. March, we continue. In April, we begin denying vehicle registration services.
In April, we're going to do what?
It is anticipated that in April, after we have refined our testing, we have refined our conversations with Mr. Barrera, trained his staff, we have installed the technologies, we have done some various testing. We will begin in April to deny vehicle registrations and thus have Hidalgo County's scofflaw program developed in-house.
How does, I mean, this is what we started
Correct.
calling Operation Clean Slate.
Yes,
right?
that's correct, Judge.
That's what we still call it.
Right.
And what has changed from the presentation that we made?
If you go to
Hold
page-
on. When we met with the public, we had that press conference. We told the public that we were going to be doing certain things at certain times. Has that changed?
Yes, sir.
What has changed?
What has changed is the whole timeline that was originally set up with the Clean Slate program.
Right, and that was what?
That was originally intended to be a 60-day time frame.
Well, I mean, they were going to be given a period of time where they could voluntarily pay.
Correct.
And then there was going to be a period of time when we were going to be turning over information to the DPS.
Correct. Right.
And then we were going to be turning it over to a lawyer.
That's correct, sir.
And which one of those has changed?
The initial first part of the program was to develop an online portal. The second part of the program was to develop and actually submit information to TxDOT to flag individuals. It is at phase 2, Judge, that we determined that in order to maximize our efforts in Hidalgo County, we needed to expand the scope of outstanding cases. On page 5, you will see a graphical representation of that. The traditional scofflaw model in Hidalgo County was only going to address 10% of the outstanding JP collections. Under the enhanced collections model, we anticipate being able to punish and being able to recognize the individuals that have not complied with their obligations at 100%. Everybody that owes the JP monies will be now recognized under this enhanced collections model. And of greater benefit to the county is it will not have a significant fiscal impact versus the traditional scofflaw model, which was going to have a fiscal impact by it of the request for flagging and unflagging. This model that we're developing, Judge and Commissioners, is a successful model that has been implemented in El Paso County, in Cameron County, and the state of Texas has actually looked upon this model and refining their own scofflaw program to identify other avenues that they can use to increase the state's revenue stream that's coming in from the JP collections.
Karina, is that your understanding about the changes?
That is correct, sir. And we made that notice to the public that we were enhancing the pilot project. Clean Slate was a pilot project. We tested it out for 60 days. It was a static list. It was only a specific time period. And we were going to, as a committee and with the court's approval, recommend it for us to enhance, expand, and refine the program to make it really a much better, more expansive, better project. We are going to roll out another media campaign to inform the public, and the message this time is going to be one of convenience because this is going to be a representation of what is exactly existing in the database in our justice system.
When is the data going to be turned over to TxDOT or DPS?
It will not be. We are going to be doing this scofflaw in-house as opposed to paying DMV and TxDOT a certain percentage for each file. And we were limited in scope in that sense.
What authority do we have to do it in-house? I mean, we don't have the authority to deny driver's licenses or...
The Texas Transportation Code does allow us to execute the scofflaw statute and apply it as we're applying so, Judge. The statute does allow us to deny vehicle registration services if they owe the county a fine and fee that's over 90 days.
But you were asking driver's license, right?
Yeah.
The question was about, what about driver's license? Hold on.
Isn't that what the scofflaw deal does? I mean,
I'm sorry, Judge?
if people are delinquent, they haven't paid, they go and apply to renew their license, they don't get it.
Yes, the
So what
scofflaw,
authority do we have to deny him that license, to force him to pay?
the authority is just basically to increase our revenues. And
Well, I mean, that's the whole purpose, to collect the money, but I mean, what authority do we have to tell the DPS, don't give them the driver's license until they pay?
Well, actually, it's not driver's license, sir, it's just vehicle registrations, and that's what Mr. Barrera, one of his core functions.
Well, we were told it was both driver's license and vehicle registration.
Right, that, the vehicle registrations is captured under the
Are we
scofflaw.
doing away with driver's license?
No, sir,
All
that,
right. Do we have any authority to tell DPS?
yes, we
to
do,
not do it?
that is referred to as the Omni-Base program, and that is being observed by the county clerks and the district clerks right now as we speak. The justices of the peace are not utilizing that yet. They will use that as a resource to augment this effort.
And other counties are doing that, right?
Yes, other counties are doing it throughout the state with, the caveat is that you renew your driver's license once a year, same with your, the driver's license once every 7 years, and your vehicle once a year. So that is two different programs. This is the scofflaw program.
Right, and that's what we told the public, we were going to be looking at both of them.
Correct.
Judge-
We still are.
Judge, if I may, the authority comes from a contract. There is a scofflaw law that allows the 254 counties to do scofflaw, and then we have existing contracts with the Omni-Base would be a contract that we haven't executed yet with DPS that's coming later down the pipe on our schedule. But these are exciting times for us because as you'll notice on this sheet number 5, slide number 5, when we originally started the Clean Slate, we were looking at this amount of money. And now, as a result, we've gotten authority from this Commissioner's Court to work on the enhanced model, and it's going to go from this amount of money to this amount of money.
Well, give me figures. It's going to go from 44 million to what?
Well, here are the figures, because the way we were doing it originally was this amount, and we're excited to be working on something this
Initially, we were
big.
trying to collect 44 million. That's what the delinquency.
That is correct, but going with the old model, we needed to have Texas plates, Texas plates. We needed Texas plates on all the Texas, on our database.
Mike, you said that we're going from this to this. What is this? What's the large number now?
Okay, but I'm explaining to you, Judge, because it won't be on a figure like this. What we're doing is, in order to use scofflaw with the state, you need to have certain criteria. When you take what we were doing on Phase 1, the 35 million, and you say which ones fit the criteria to use scofflaw with the state, it came down to less than 10%. So we can jump up and down and say that we have $40 million in outstanding debt, but can we really use the state would be less than 10% for that if we go with the
That
state.
would apply to both the vehicle registration and the driver's license?
So we submit that to them.
Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
So we control the vehicle registration? I mean, that's here at the tax and
There
collector's
is a
office.
process, and then we get those at 13 cents a hit. So we get the database, these 35 million that we started with the first one, we send it to the state, and then they do a probe, and they charge us for those probes. That's what Karina was talking
That
about.
probe is for vehicle registration?
So that they can return back a VIN number to have something to scofflaw. So on the returns coming back with VIN numbers, because of the data, we were only going after 10% of the 35 million. So we did away with that as a committee and got the authorization for Commissioners Court. They authorized us to work on the enhanced model, and that gives us great pride to say now we're going after 100%
Okay,
of the
how?
data.
What is it that you're doing different?
We are going after 100, we're doing scofflaw in-house, going after collecting 100% of the debt to Hidalgo County as opposed to the 10% with VIN numbers. So these are exciting times for us because we're going to have a huge...
How are you going to be enforcing the denial of vehicle registrations or denial of driver's license to 100% of people? It's the same.
This, Judge, if you will, I have a sample here of what is, we're going to be swapping out our existing list that's 9 months old today for this new one at the end of the month. This new one is accurate. It'll have all real-time tickets, including up to the previous day, which is where most of our money comes in a bulk. So the way the tax office will be doing this, as an example, every employee, and we already met with Armando Barrera, there's nine auto clerks, everybody will have a tablet with a driver's license reader. I don't have a driver's license reader here, so I'm going to do it manually, but they also have that option because not all the driver's licenses are accurate. When we tested it, we tested mine, and mine is pretty old. So the tax office will have the flexibility of doing it real quick or looking it up for a couple of seconds longer. So when they look it up, this is what they're going to see. It comes up real quick in less than 1 second. So what we see here is an individual who has 3 tickets, but only one is scofflawed. So 100% of the people that are going to come do business at the tax office, automobile department, they're going to get scanned through these iPads now, through these tablet machines, before they can start conducting official business with Hidalgo County. On this example, he has 3 tickets, but only one is scofflawable. And what's scofflawable is anything past due 90 days or more. So out of these 3 tickets, there's only one that's past due. There's only one that he needs to satisfy a requirement. He needs to make a payment. This person needs to make a payment before they can get their automobile license registration renewed. That's going to be where we have teeth. At that point, Commissioners Court should see a huge spike in revenues coming in because we're going after 100% of the $40 million that are owed to us instead of the 10% using the state. It's a lot more expensive going through the state. I'm here to tell you that you're only going to be able to collect less than 10% of your outstanding debt if you use the state. We've conducted this, we've looked at it, we've called other counties, we modeled El Paso County, who collected more when they changed. They were with the state for 6 years too, Judge, but they changed into this model. And in 6 months, they collected more money than they had collected in 6 years. That's a lot of money coming in because now we're using the tax office as a resource to have teeth. The second phase to that is to use Omni. We'll come back to Commissioner's Court for the contracts. And now they can renew their driver's licenses as well. So it's exciting times for us. We're working really hard on having a model. We've talked to the collection attorneys also. We presented to them at your office request last week. They were very impressed with our particular model. We've changed it up a little bit from El Paso's and Cameron counties. They said they've never seen such a model done like this, and they congratulated us because they haven't seen something like this anywhere around the state. When this is all said and done, we're putting together a project plan. We would like to submit this project for competition to win an award because it is one of a kind. So these are exciting times for us, Judge. The way the tax office is going to use, they're going to have to make a payment, and we're going to have payment machines right at the tax office for the public's convenience so they can get back in line. If they want to dispute the ticket or work out a deal, they're more than welcome to go to the JP court and do it that way. So there's going to be monies coming in. We're already automating these things. The payments are going to be taken off automatically. We've met with all the key stakeholders. We have a meeting tomorrow with the DA's office on what we're going to do with the truancy cases. If we're going to leave a certain percentage on, he asked us to take everything off and only leave on this school year. So it gives us great pleasure to know that we visited with all the key stakeholders that are involved in this project. It's very thorough, and these are exciting times for us. We're excited.
I think y'all have done a great job in putting this together, and I commend you on your efforts. And basically, the way you're doing it now, within a couple of years' time, we should be able to pretty much collect 100%, no? Because everybody has to renew their DMV every year.
But if somebody in a household has 4 people that have a driver's license, and how do they get into the system if they do not own the vehicle? For example, let's assume I'm driving. I'm not the owner of the car. I get a ticket. Where is that going to appear?
You wouldn't, under this program, Commissioner, we would only have an opportunity to enforce the scofflaw program on your personal vehicle registration. So if you were driving a different vehicle, the other individual owner will not be impacted.
Okay, so the delinquent tickets, not necessarily 100% are going to be caught under this
Correct.
program.
Correct.
We may have 50 million outstanding.
Well, if you own a vehicle, you'll be caught, put it that way.
Yeah, but let's say in your household, there's 4 drivers, but the vehicle's under one name.
Right. But we will have identified 100% of the scofflaw, but maybe not collect 100%, but we will identify it.
Okay. Great
So
job.
when are we scheduled now under Operation Clean Slate timeline to turn it over to a lawyer? Okay, if we're going to start in April, we're going to have to give it a chance for it to work, right?
One of the things that we're anticipating to do, Judge, is once the green light is given by you to implement this program in April, we hope to run a 6-month period. In that 6-month period, we will see and run statistics that will
So
give us...
you want to keep it for 6 months and see how it works?
Right. We want to be able to isolate what cases came in. We want to be able to see the percentage of outstanding cases.
See,
how-
back in 2010, the county entered into a contract with some lawyers from Austin,
Correct.
and they have been calling, wanting to get the information sent to them so that they could start collection.
Right.
And what you're saying is, we're not ready for that, that we're not going to be ready until probably 6 months from now.
We're giving a suggestion
Am I
to the-
correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct, but we're giving a suggestion to the court on how we can possibly utilize them in a more efficient manner by having some data that we can base it against and have a baseline that we can say everything over 5 years we can give to the third party, anything over 3 years. Depending on the statistics and the numbers that came in, it would warrant that decision. Or we can have the option of giving you the year criteria, 3 years, 5 years, 4 years, anything that's outstanding, based on a cutoff date, then we could give those to the third party, which, as you know, is no cost to us.
So some of these fines are how old? Up to how old?
These go back over 20 years, and that's why we did
So-
away with the first pilot, which was a snapshot of just
Right.
10 years. It worked really good. We got excited. We're going after millions more now, and so it's
So-
more enhanced.
Why would we
Judge,
not interject and
Judge,
bring the attorney
on the attorneys, for that concern you had, we did visit with them last week, and we did ask them, what kind of added value can you add to this project? And other than sending out a letter, they said they would get back to us because they've never seen something like this. They were very impressed, and they want to work with us somehow, but they haven't been able to tell us how they're going to add value yet.
I mean, the county's better off if you handle it here in-house instead of sending it away, but
That's what they told us. They were very impressed with this, but they still they're going to get back to the committee to tell us, so the burden's not so much on your office now, I put it back on them, how can you add value to this? Because we're going to be collecting money at an astonishing rate now.
when do we move into fines and fees? The fines, the fines assessed by county courts and district courts?
That is another discussion that we would have to set up with them, sir.
That's another huge spike in collection that we want to do later on, so we'll have a one-stop shop. Right now, you can make payments on county court at laws with no cause numbers, and you have to know the cause number at the county court, at the county clerk's website. You can make these on this website, and then the planning over there, and we would like one day to see a one-stop shop, just one web page where all the county's debt is located. Because it does us no good if somebody goes and checks one and says, I don't owe the county anything yet, he owes it over here, and, it would serve us better to have one huge pile
All right.
of outstanding debt in one page.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. We can't proceed though, we don't have a quorum.
Judge, we've lost.
Yeah, this was just a
We'll
presentation.
go ahead and put you in there. You can be,
Want to recess that?
yeah, well, that's, oh, man.
Let me see.
By the way, check to see if Joseph or somebody's there. Okay. Our budget office, 18?
18B?
18B,
1.
yes.
This is approval of 2012 appropriation of funds in the amount of $153,990.46 for the tax office special inventory fund. We're basically just appropriating the year-end fund balance for 2012.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 3. Okay. Item 19, purchasing.
Judge, just for the record, item 19A, 1, 2, and 3, there is no action at this time.
All right, let's go to 4.
Item 4, Darlene Betancourt for Hidalgo County Purchasing Department and for Ms. Marty Salazar. Item 4 is the pursuant to directive request by Commissioners Court of January 17, 2012, presentation by the number 1 ranked firm, Burton McCumber & Cortez LLP, for the provision of professional audit services in connection with, including but not limited to fiscal year audit 2011 and future independent audits with action necessary if required. And I believe the number 1 ranked firm is available for a presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Longoria, and I want to apologize. Before the meeting started, I told you I'd take you in and out of turn, and I completely forgot.
That's okay, I totally understand. Just to facilitate the discussion,
Thank you.
Again, Judge, Commissioners, my name is Ricky Longoria. I am a partner with the firm of Burton McCumber & Cortez. I had received an email, I guess sometime last week, from the Purchasing Department asking for an attendant from our firm to be here to discuss, I guess, an overview of the planning for the County of Hidalgo audit. as well as maybe any concerns that the Commissioners Court had with respect to any prior audits that were issued. Specifically, the 3 items that were included in that email wanted me to discuss deadline dates and our understanding of those dates, any interim sampling work that maybe could be done with respect to the audit, and also with respect to staffing. If you go back to the RFQ and the way that it was originally stated, it specifically asked for the auditor to speak to being able to address, again, the deadline dates. And the most critical date that I see in trying to complete this audit is the completion of all fieldwork date. And I define all fieldwork date to be not only the fieldwork related to the county of the audit, but also any of the related agencies. And that date is April 30th. It also speaks to having drafts of certain reports done by May 20th, and speaks to having the county audit ready to issue, the county ready to issue its final audit report by May 31st. And if you consider last year, in fact, what we're talking about is having it a whole month earlier than what had been, I guess, achieved in the past. I know it's always been a goal, and I've always said that, but unfortunately, it's never been that way. And then there's another requirement regarding the management letter comments. The simple schematic that I provided you basically has, the completion of the county audit report up at top, and also lays out the different agencies that we have to deal with in order to be able to complete our audit. We have the Drainage District, which we deal with them separately, and there is an expected start date of 2/27. We also work with the agencies of the Head Start Program, Urban County, and Community Service Agency, and you'll see that currently our plan is to hopefully start their audits on March 19th. With respect to the County of Hidalgo, we are wanting to start field work on March 5th. In reality, in looking at the plan, it's really not much different than the plan that we've had in the past. And if I can find, bear with me just a second. And you may ask, well, if it's not much different than the one in the past, why are we going up to the June 30th date? Why can't we achieve this May 31st date? Also, too, I also want to add that during the RFQ process, we did specifically ask, since these deadline dates were set forth within the RFQ, and since we all recognize that this is a team effort, I can't complete our work without the assistance and the cooperation of county and its agencies and its personnel. We specifically asked, well, given these deadline dates, what plans does a county have in order to be ready for us to start the audit? And that was part of the normal RFQ process, and the response that we received was, well, the county has not gotten together yet. Typically, that kind of planning is done after the auditor is engaged. So the dates that I'm providing you at this point are tentative, because I have not had the opportunity to communicate with anyone from the county with respect to whether they would even be ready for us to audit. Those dates that I presented are the dates that we ideally would like to start the audit in order to meet the specific deadline dates. My concern in trying to meet the April 30th date and these dates is because despite our efforts, and I say our efforts, our collective efforts, those dates have not been achieved. And certainly we can speak to, well, why not and whatnot, but at the end of the day, our firm is committed to meeting the deadline dates that the county has set for us on the condition that they too do their part. Okay? And I will give you an example. Last year, we had specifically asked, in order to, in the spirit of trying to get the audit out sooner, we had specifically asked for the trial balance, and trial balance is nothing more than the source, the books and records of the county to be provided to us by March 4th. It was actually not provided to us until March 29th. So right off the box, last year, we were 3 weeks behind before we even got started. Knowing that, we still worked with the county. From a staffing perspective, we moved our existing client schedule around to work with the county. We had our staff in here. Shortly thereafter, we received the trial balance, and by April 15th, we then had to send an email to the county auditor and his staff saying, we're here and we're starting to run out of work. And it was after the receipt of that email, or the issuance of that email, that finally we started getting stuff in. And that's fine. And if we then move on to the end part, and this would be the last example, would be fixed assets, and your capital assets are a big part of those financial statements. We did not get the information to audit the fixed assets section until the first week of June. And so, again, we're pushed against these timelines of June 30th. Given the history, again, trying to apply that history to what we're trying to achieve in April, with this April 30th fieldwork date, again, our firm is committed to working with the county to meet those deadline dates, assuming we get all the information required. Otherwise, I'm afraid that we're going to end up trying to push up against a June 30th date, which I know from the county auditor's perspective, that's certainly the date that he wants us to be done, period. Those are my timing comments.
All right.
We had an issue, basically where the auditor was saying that you were always late in completing your audits, and basically, I know you need every department or every body or the administration to assist you with providing information. Has that information always been late, or is there an issue with that, or can you just pinpoint that for us?
Yeah, given the size and scope of the audit, and of course, unless you're an auditor, it's hard to appreciate what it takes to get the audit done of the 8th largest county in the state. It only takes one item in a series of hundreds of items to delay an audit. I'll give you an example. Last year, we had asked for what's called a Schedule of Federal Financial Assistance to be provided to us in February. Okay? It was my understanding that the individual responsible for that moved to another department within the county, which is fine, that happens. But in that transition, all that did was then delay that work up until May. And so I'm not trying to find fault in the county, although it may sound that way, but my point is given the hundreds of items that need to be done, it only takes one item. And so,
well, I'm not asking you to blame anybody, I want to clarify that.
Sure.
But I have a concern when our auditor suggests you're the top-ranked firm, suggests not to award you a contract.
Me too.
When basically, without giving us the real reason why not.
Right.
I don't know if that's what I'm trying to pinpoint.
Yeah.
If you're the top-ranked firm and you've been working for the county, providing audits for many, many years, right, we want to make sure that our departments succeed, but as well as you as a contractor of this county.
Absolutely, Commissioner. I totally agree. Imperative to a great outcome. We collectively need to have a great working relationship. And so you're right. It's a little concerning that the county auditor, has a different opinion or may have a different opinion with respect to our firm.
What do you think we can do to make sure that you get the information that you need timely so that we can get your audit report timely?
Again, and I don't know, the county auditor.
How can we improve the system? How can we improve the structure?
Well, since I don't have control, and I'm not asking for control, of all the different departments, nor the assignments of the county auditor's office and their priorities, given if there's a staff change, if somebody's sick, if someone's ill, it's hard for me to say other than if we provide you all a list and everything on that list is provided, then we will meet those deadlines.
Who's your point of contact?
Our point of contact revolves around 4 individuals. It revolves around Mr. Ofracio on the top, of course, and of course he has his assistant county auditor, and those are probably more on the field, so to speak. But then we also deal separately with the finance directors and the executive directors of Community Service Agency, Urban County, and Head Start. And so we're having to deal with 4 different parties and trying to get this done. And it only takes one of those, missteps in any one of those areas to cause a delay in the audit. And if it's okay, Commissioner, I'll even
But if you're working on the audit and there's delays and you are emailing your point of contact in reference to that, correct?
Correct.
Now, what are they doing about it?
I don't know. I think at times I think that they understand where we're coming from, but since our audit is intrusive on their time, I don't know whether maybe it doesn't rise to number one versus anything else. I don't know, Commissioner. I don't know why internally we don't get the information on time other than things happen.
Well, I don't know if this would be appropriate, but if you're going to be working on an audit, you're not getting the responses you need, and there's a situation with the auditor's office, maybe you should...
Have we addressed your concerns, Mr. Obrador?
Well, I wanted to first make a comment in regards to, you were saying I didn't provide any justification for saying that the firm didn't meet the requirements. And like I said last time, is for the last 7 years, Commissioner, the audit has been done either being completed late or has been completed the last minute. And there's an issue that I have that needs to be addressed. I have received at least a couple of letters from grantor agencies saying that the presentation of the audit report was an error. And in my opinion, that's a result of the rushing the audit towards the last minute. One of the suggestions
You may know that, and you may have those facts, but you didn't present them to us in writing. At least I didn't get them.
They were provided to the...
We're making a decision here. You're recommending not approving this firm. Give me something in writing that shows me where there's an issue and there's a problem, rather than just saying he's always late. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to get a full discussion here, but this is why I asked you to come in and present. I was recommended this so we could clarify his concerns, our concerns, and if you're not getting a response, we need to know about it, or maybe you should CC the county judge and let him know.
The executive office is involved in a lot of those discussions that we have. Balde. And the independent auditor also is aware of the issues that we have, why we don't get the documentation. We get the documentation and provide it to him, but if we don't get it from the departments, we cannot get it. So, and we're aware of all the issues that we have. I guess we can copy you on the entire court whenever we submit a request to the department to provide documentation, we don't get it, notify you. But one of the things that I would like to recommend, and I have made this recommendation to the independent auditor, is for them to begin some pre-audit work. For them to come in before the fiscal year ends or right after the fiscal year ends and start doing some preliminary work. They have refused to do that for the last 7 years. One of the comments that was made by the independent auditor was that our fiscal year ends in the wrong time for them. To me, we're the client, and we have an obligation to grantor agencies. We have an obligation to the underwriters and the rated agencies. And so we need to have the report done in a timely manner.
Okay, you have two good points, but like I said, if you're going to recommend not approving a top-ranked firm, I would ask you to provide me with enough information.
Yeah, I can give you that in writing. I have it.
You know, well, not just come out and say during the meeting, you know, you shouldn't award it because he's always late. Is what I'm saying, beforehand. So we'll know, and that way we'll know what, you know, what to present. Or what discussion we should be having.
Yeah, Commissioner Bonilla, just a couple of things with respect to the county judge and the county auditor saying that y'all's year-end is at the wrong time. Y'all's year-end is your year-end. I mean, there's no right or wrong about it. It is what it is. As far as interim work, because we are having to accommodate staff whenever the county is late, say there's a 2-week delay, as a practical matter, I can't keep staff on standby. You know, I've got to be flexible enough to get them to go somewhere and then come back. And the reason we haven't really pushed for or been agreeable to do an interim work, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. My concern historically, though, is going to be the old adage of, well, let's hurry up and wait. Well, let's get it in and hurry up so that we can wait till June to get the final information. Well, hurry up and wait is not very efficient. And that's why we've always been somewhat, not real happy about wanting to do something. But if it makes a difference so that to somebody, to have someone here, we may end up hurrying up and waiting because there's going to be some back-end stuff that's late, and that's fine. I mean, we have no problem with that. But that's been the philosophy.
What is your deadline to turn in the audit report?
Our deadline, there's a couple of deadlines. One is the September 30th deadline, which relates to the schedule of federal financial assistance, the federal awards and state and things of that nature. There's another deadline, which is the June 30th deadline.
Yeah, that's the one I believe we're looking at.
Yes.
In order for you to comply and meet the deadline, you need to have the information that you request by when?
For us, we have to be out of the field, no later than the second week of May, and that has not happened. And of course, Mr. Eufrasio deadline of 4:30 makes sense. I mean, we need to collectively start working on the actual report, or take that back, out of the field by April 30th, which is why we would like to start on March 5th. That gives us 60 days to work with the county, and also given some consideration that we may have a delay here or there.
You're saying that if you get the information that you need by a certain day, that you'll be timely in your presentation?
That's always been the case.
And what date will that be?
March 5th.
March the 5th?
Yes, sir.
Is there a way that maybe you can put us in line, and if it's getting close to March, you haven't gotten it, send us a notice or send me a letter? Or
Well, send the court.
I can
the
copy
whole
anybody.
court.
Judge, I'm in no way reconsidering the selection of Burton McCumber representing us. I think the only thing that lacks is synergy and cooperation. It's my belief that I think that if Burton McCumber got the information when they needed to get it, that this audit would never be late. Now, historically, I don't know for whatever reason. If it's been late 7 years, I guarantee you there's probably 7 years of reasons why they've been late. All I'm asking is for the auditor's office and everybody that's affiliated with getting this thing done or this audit done to work within a timely fashion so that we're not late. And it's that simple. I don't think it should be any complicated than that. And I think the firm's willing to do that. Staff should be willing to work with them to get the information on a timely manner. And we'd set those dates, and if they don't get there, then obviously we have issues internally.
And Judge, if I may, just by comparison, because I don't want anybody to walk out and say, well, this is an anomaly. And I'm not trying to suggest that it's good to be late on anything. In fact, I hate being late. It's not something that we as a firm, promote, or whatnot. But I did go back, and you just allow me, I did go back and look up the financial statements for two of the counties that were bigger than the Hidalgo County, one financial statement that was smaller than Hidalgo County in size, and also looked at Cameron County. And specifically, I went to the auditor's report to see when they dated their report and when they signed off. Each one of these counties has a September 30th year end, and their deadline date, if we use the 6-month criteria, would be March 31st. So if one was to go look at El Paso County, which is the 6th largest county in the state, the auditor signed off on March 23rd, 7 days, 8 days before his deadline. Collin County, the auditor signed off on March 31st, on the day that audit needed to be out. Denton County signed off on March 25th, 6 days before it went out. And Cameron County, our neighbors to the east, they signed off on March 30th. And if you compare that to the date, our 6 months, we signed off on June 17th. And so it's late because I sign off, and there's a lot of binding that needs to be done, and the actual production of the book. But I'm just saying, by comparison, we're not way out there. And that's my only point.
Okay. If there are no other questions?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Longoria, thank you very much for coming over and explaining this matter to us.
Thank you, Judge. And again, our firm will continue to work, and I hope we move forward together. We continue to work with the county.
I've been here 5 different years, and the quality of your firm's work has always been there.
Thank you, Judge. Appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, thank you, sir. Next item, Precinct 1.
Next item is acceptance and approval of interlocal cooperation agreements between Hidalgo County and the following cities for the provision of assisting each other in multiple projects as defined in each agreement. Item A is with the city of Donna, and item B is city of Progreso.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor?
Discussion on that. I don't know if it's appropriate, pero recently, President one has been on Channel 4, Channel 5, with a weedy lot, not the weedy lot, tires.
Illegal dumping,
Yeah.
environmental crimes.
Can we get, Steve, can you get us something that explains what authority we have to go into private property, under what circumstances to collect?
Generally, you cannot enter private property.
Okay. The media has, does a good job of reporting problems with illegal dumping. But over the years, I find it difficult to explain to the community or the general audience that the county is limited as to what we can do. We cannot go into private property, for example, and spend any county monies in doing any work inside or outside the county's properties. So can you give us, I know that all of us have at one time or another confronted that. And we get different answers. The health department, for example, is responsible for certain things. Can you make a presentation to the court and giving us the steps that need to be taken in order for the county to address those particular issues of going, when can we go, under what circumstances can we go into private property in order to address this particular problem?
Commissioner, we can try to do that, but each one is going to be on a case-by-case basis of where you can go in. So I'm reluctant to say in every case involving a health issue, you can go into private property, because that's not the case. It's only certain selected areas where you can, and it's a case-by-case analysis.
Yeah, but the general public is under the impression that the county can go and do certain things. And can we find a way of putting out information so that everybody will be on the same page?
I can try, but it will not be conclusive of every fact situation.
Do you have any suggestions?
Our experience has always been that most of the illegal dumping and things are done through environmental crimes has usually been along the roadways or right-of-ways or easements or drainage areas of county properties. And particularly sometimes there is a case or two where people illegally dump on private property. My understanding was that as long as it's a health hazard and nuisance, that, like you say, case per case, then we could address it and do something about it.
And the other is an emergency declaration. Once there's an emergency declaration, you can enter.
The emergency, I was getting that, Commissioner, exactly right. The emergency declaration as well. Because we have, the illegal dumping is a huge problem throughout Hidalgo County.
Yeah, but
It's not environmentally safe, and these are issues that we can't ignore.
Yeah.
And our residents expect us to take action on this, and duly so. I believe we should. So I agree with part of what you're saying, Commissioner. We need to address the issue, but at the same time, we need to try to provide some type of mechanism or structure to the do's and don'ts, per se. That's what you're getting at, correct?
Yeah, but it still doesn't answer the question is we need to bring to court, declared an emergency. We cannot take it upon ourselves to just go ahead and take action on the issue, and not this one. So it's got to be uniform. And
That's a good point.
I don't know that.
But one thing I do know is that when it comes to situations like that, I don't think any precinct goes into anybody's personal property without the proper authorization.
Well,
which would be the right of entry and release of liability.
I've been
Also.
on the court for 13 years, and I don't think we've dealt with the emergency situation but maybe 3-4 times, and mostly related to a hurricane. And I don't know, it's not fair to the people, it's not fair to the elected official. But people need to understand that on legal grounds, we have the potential of doing things that are outside the legal bounds. And some of us may get in trouble for that.
Now, there's been some discussion points since we're on the subject matter that there are some exceptions in regards to equipment storage. And in there, we've talked to the DA's office about creating a waiver system where we obviously address the insurance and a lot of other issues. But that is just another example of when we do enter private property, but obviously it's on a project-specific basis. We submit that to the DA's office or Atlas and Hall. We obviously dot our i's, cross our t's, and make sure everything's covered in those agreements. And it's obviously, we try to present those to court. So the court's aware, our legal counsel's aware, and all that.
I do believe the county judge also has that authorization within his boundaries as well. But this is an interlocal agreement. This is not a method of understanding. It's basically.
And this is not entering in private property. These
That's
interlocal
correct.
agreements are to assist these cities, and these cities then pay the cost of
Excuse me.
personnel, labor, and
The
equipment.
school grounds are county property?
The school grounds are property of the school district, but the school district is a governmental entity, and the governmental entity is contracting through the county with an interlocal agreement to have the county perform these services and paying the county for these services at the county's cost.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 2,
Item B is acceptance and approval, I'm sorry, item A. Item 2A, acceptance and approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between Hidalgo County and Delta Lake Irrigation District for the provision of irrigation water for parks. Requesting approval?
Move to approve.
Second.
those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item 2B is acceptance and approval of interlocal cooperation agreement project provision of water for the irrigation of approximately 30 acres of park, more specifically Delta Lake Park in Precinct Number 1.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3A is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas Local Government Code 262024A4, a professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3B is presentation of scoring grid for the purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of firms graded and evaluated through the county's approved pool of engineers for geotechnical services for Precinct Number 1 projects.
Move to approve the scoring grid is presented.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The scores are as follow. LNG is 98, Professional Services is 92, and Terracon is 89. Item C is authority for purchasing department to negotiate a professional engineering contract with number 1 ranked firm, who would be LNG Engineering.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item C2 is acceptance and approval to execute on-call professional engineering services contract with R. Gutierrez Engineering Corporation for various projects within Precinct 2, as approved for negotiation by Commissioners Court on November 22nd, 2011.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item
Aye,
D.
motion carries. Go ahead.
Item D1 is requesting approval of final negotiated professional engineering services agreement, approved for negotiation on 10/18/11 with Health Associates Incorporated for building repairs, renovations, alterations, and/or additions to county-owned buildings on an as-needed basis, and is utilized by various departments for projects located within Precinct 4 area.
Move
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D2 is requesting acceptance and approval of following invoices as stated below for purchases made without securing purchase orders for precinct, understood that a developer would be paying for the materials and/or services, and later found out that the precinct was to cover the expenses and would be reimbursed for monies deposited with the planning department with authority for county treasurer to issue payment and checks after review, audit, and processing procedures as completed by the county auditor.
Mr. Ofracio? You're going along with this?
Yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item E1A is requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 1.
I just need to make a comment. It's the first time you've gone along with something
Well-
that has no purchase order.
Well, Judge, I got to give him credit because we've actually worked with this office on this issue. There was a lack of understanding from our staff on how the methodology was. But at the end product, the private, I'm sorry, the private developer did.
I'm trying to make sure I point out those instances.
You're making out
those
another point, right,
circumstances.
Judge? Just like I did earlier, without any
And we also had
backup.
a letter from the district attorney's office.
We want to
In
know,
writing.
on my part, I want to tell you, I want to thank you for being reasonable.
So when I say in writing, means handwritten, not verbal.
Well, earlier he suggested we approve something without backup, so I commend you
But
for that as well.
some of those are services, Judge, that a claim for services that can pay without a problem. The materials, there was the issue, but the district attorney's office reviewed it and issued a letter
Mr.
of opinion.
Fracio, we're able to pick on you when we want to as well.
All right, go ahead.
Item E1 is for Colonia Access Program for Precinct 1, and we're requesting approval under Item A of supplemental agreement number 1 to contract number CAP 08-22092 between Hidalgo County and LNG Engineering Laboratories to replace Attachment A with Attachment A revised, resulting in an increase of $28,793.89.
Need a motion
Move to
to
approve.
approve this
Second.
agreement? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B1, also for Colonia Access Precinct 1, requesting approval of work authorization number 10 with a proposed fee of $28,793.89 with LNG Engineering Laboratories to provide materials testing services to Precinct 1 for various Border Colonia Access Program Round 3 projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item F is for Colonia Access Program Precinct 2. Item 1 is requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 1, contract number CAP 08-023A-0902 between Hidalgo County and Millennium Engineering Group to replace Attachment A with revised Attachment A, resulting in the increase of $5,228.25.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F2B, requesting approval of work authorization number 4 for a proposed fee of $5,228.25 with Millennium Engineering Group to provide materials testing services to County Precinct 2 for various Border Colonia Access Program Round 3 projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next item is for Colonia Access Precinct 3, G1A, requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 1, Colonia Access Project number 08-024-0902 between Hidalgo County and LNG Engineering to replace Attachment A with a revised Attachment A, resulting in an increase of $38,853.91.
Move to approve. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G1B, requesting approval of work authorization number 6 with a proposed fee of $38,853.91 with LNG Engineering to provide materials testing services to Hidalgo County Precinct Number 3 for various Border Colonia Access Round 3 projects.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item number 2 is presentation of a recommendation by project engineer Hinojosa Engineering Incorporated for Commissioners Court to take action to award to low bidder meeting all specifications, science utility contractors in the amount of $111,443.25
So moved.
Second.
for
Those-
Havana subdivision.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And our next item is for the Sheriff's Office. Item 1A, we're requesting for Hidalgo County Commissioners Court to designate and approve an owner's representative as referred on the AIA document between owner and contractor. D. Wilson, which is the awarded contractor for the new sheriff's substation, has requested a point of contact from the Sheriff's Office or from Commissioners Court to designate a point of contact for the sheriff's substation project.
Has the sheriff indicated to you that he wants to identify somebody for this?
It's the sheriff or his designee,
Well,
whichever the court chooses to.
the sheriff, and then let him pick whoever he would like to
Okay.
be there. I mean,
Okay.
they're the ones who are going to be right on top of the
Right,
project.
and basically this is just the go-between between the contractor
I
and,
think Chief Martinez has been the point of contact for this whole thing from the sheriff's office, but whoever the sheriff seems.
we were advised that it would be possibly the sheriff and/or his designee,
Okay.
That'll be fine.
if the court agrees.
That'd be fine with
Okay.
me.
Thank you.
No problem.
I need action.
Move to approve that request. Make
You
the
need a
sheriff
second.
and a point of contact.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item B is approval of the final AIA document 101 form of agreement between Hidalgo County, the owner, and D. Wilson Construction Company, the contractor, for the construction of the new sheriff's office substation in Precinct 1.
The amount.
Have
the
you
amount,
looked at the
We reviewed
contract?
it and approved it.
There's no arbitration clause?
No, sir.
All right.
Second.
Our standard contract.
Darlene, I have
Yes, sir.
a question. Does this contract include construction of the building and parking lot, or just the building?
We're waiting for the schedule of values from the contractor. As soon as we have that information available, we'll be able to provide it, and we could bring a separate item back to Commissioners Court if need be, that we'd have to separate the parking lot from the building.
There has been some commitments made by myself and Precinct 1 in assisting the construction of the sheriff's substation.
Right.
Part of the infrastructure, and I believe the contractor was going to prep the parking area, and we would do some of the paving, but the
Right.
schedule of values will
Right.
specify.
As
all
soon
that.
as we get that information, like I said,
Right.
we could go ahead and possibly meet with your office to discuss that matter,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ofracio. And then if we need to, we'd bring back an item for Commissioners Court action.
This was done in order to save some money for the county.
So at this point, we don't know what they might be involved, Precinct 1 might be involved, may not.
Right.
The schedule of
Right.
values will
Right.
designate that.
Did we get a motion on that?
Move to
one?
approve.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Now,
Thank you very
pursuant
much.
to- Pursuant to 551, 071, and 072, need a motion to proceed to
So moved.
executive session. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It is now 12:47. Session?
Judge, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Item 21 under open session, no action under 21A, real estate, no action under 21B, the Landmark Organization, Hidalgo County versus Landmark, no action under 21C, pending and or potential litigation. 21D, Judge Commissioners, I would like settlement authority to make an offer on the claim of Verizon against the county in the amount of $1,353.38.
Move to approve.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
With that same entity, I would like settlement authority to make an offer and settlement of this second claim by Verizon against the county in the amount of $1,165.81.
Move to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 21F, claim of Catarino Gutierrez. I would like settlement authority to make an offer of $1,527.72 for property damage.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 21G, claim of Rosa M. Ramirez. Again, I would like settlement authority to make an offer in the amount of $1,472.88, also for property damage.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, item 21H, we have had, this is the same issue that Mr. Bobby Guerra from Mulet and Guerra was assigned by Commissioners Court. We have a new filing in the District Court. It is Daniel Marichalar versus County of Hidalgo. Unless legal counsel believes I have to exempt them again, this is the same issue that he was assigned, which is...
It's the same case.
It's the same case. So, for the record, it is Bobby Guerra from Mulet and Guerra handling the Daniel Marichalar versus County of Hidalgo. Item 21I, JL Express SADECV versus Armando Hernandez et al. This is a temporary restraining order, injunctive relief. I would like to disclose to the court that I will ask Ms. Josie Ramirez to facilitate this TRO for us. Item 21J, C-0150-12-A, Macarena G. Valderas and San Juanita Gonzalez versus Hidalgo County and Head Start Program. Judge Commissioners, I'd like to refer back to item 6A1 and 2. 6A1 is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under the Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620248-4, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 6A2, I'm requesting the engagement with the firm of Atlas and Hall, Mr. Rex Leach, for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, specifically Macarena G. Valderas and San Juanita Gonzalez versus Hidalgo County and Head Start Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, I have no further action.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.